her, celebrate love, and give thanks to the one who gave us both, Jesus. LifeChurchIN.com.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, what a convicted cop killer will be doing at a hearing this morning, why a pair of kids will be standing in front of a judge soon, and what former Vice President and Governor Mike Pence had to say during a ceremony where he was honored last night. After Fox News, you're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It is 9 o'clock.
He hopes it's a Hollywood blockbuster. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump's newest tariff plan.
Other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in.
That was last night as he returned to the White House, where Fox's Peter Ducey reads a Truth Social post.
This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. And that is why he is proposing a 100% tariff on movies that are made outside the United States. We know the president has got appointed ambassadors to Hollywood, including Jon Voight and Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone. But we also know this year's highest grossing film so far, the Minecraft movie, was shot in the UK and Canada.
Also last night, the president said he plans to order a prison that's now a historic landmark to reopen. Alcatraz off the San Francisco coast, writing he wants to rebuild and enlarge Alcatraz to imprison vicious, violent, repeat criminal offenders.
It housed several well-known criminals, including Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. The prison was closed in 1963 because it became too expensive to operate. Now it's a popular tourist destination with more than 1 million visitors per year. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calls the president's proposal not a serious one.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. Back to tariffs. President Trump tells NBC's Meet the Press he won't say when they might be lifted, especially the 145% charges on Chinese imports, grinding trade to a halt with China as they retaliate with tariffs on American products.
We lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey because we're not doing business with them right now.
The president also says he does not believe the tariffs will lead to a recession like Democrats warn. Israel's planning to expand the war in Gaza against Hamas, which is still holding hostages. Israeli cabinet ministers approved a plan today to take over the entire Gaza Strip, occupying the Palestinian territory. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What a convicted cop killer will be doing at a hearing this morning. You have a mostly cloudy sky in downtown Indianapolis. Nothing on radar, though. 51 degrees your high today, 61. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:02. The Indiana State Parole Board will hold a clemency hearing this morning for Benjamin Ritchie, who was convicted of killing a Beech Grove cop back in 2000. The state set his execution date in April for May 20th at the Indiana State Prison in Michigan City, and the hearing will start at 11 a.m. today. A pair of kids facing multiple charges for leading police in Speedway on a chase. Here's Jarrett Lewis.
Police in Speedway say a 14 and 12-year-old boy are facing multiple charges, including auto theft, resisting law enforcement, and kidnapping using a vehicle after they stole someone's Kia, then took it on a joyride through the city early Saturday morning. The police report mentions that a taser had to be used and a truck was damaged during the chase. Two other boys, ages 15 and 13, were also listed as suspects in the report. Police are still investigating. Jarrett Lewis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Some county health departments will not be able to provide everything that you might expect because of state budget cuts to public health. Betsy Swearingen is the director of the Johnson County Health Department.
We have been good stewards with our finances in the past and have some residual funds still in our accounts. So we probably will focus some of those funds towards our programming.
And she tells Wish TV's All Indiana Politics that she doesn't expect any layoffs, but some basic programs could go. After receiving the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award Sunday night in Boston, former Vice President Mike Pence says he doesn't see himself as a hero for what he did on January 6th.
When I think of that fateful day 4 years ago, the only heroes I saw were wearing uniforms.
And the award was given to Pence by the JFK Foundation for his courage in taking an unpopular stance against Donald Trump. The Indiana Pacers beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series Sunday night, 121-112. They take back home court advantage. They lead the best-of-7 series 1-0. Game 2 is on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. With your traffic, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Ryan, eastbound 465 a little bit slow on the north side from Ditch Road. Northbound 65 south side stop and go Raymond into the south split. Left lane is blocked because of maintenance. Traffic sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives remind you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
Now your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Cloudy skies, cool temperatures, and scattered showers throughout the day. A high of 60 this afternoon. Cloudy, spotty showers, and chilly overnight, lows into the mid-40s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Cloudy, cool on Monument Circle, 51 degrees in the capital city. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level on the go and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey starts right now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, we have a phrase of the day today.
I know, it's going to be great.
It's called the psychosis of tyranny because we are seeing it on full display in our state government and with our governor. And boy, howdy, this new informal survey from Abdul just basically puts it front and center. So coming up in just a little bit later on in the program, we're going to have a really brilliant guy, good friend. His name is Dr. Dan Stock, and he is a local physician. And we're going to talk about how the legislature is rigging the outcome, well, the leadership in the legislature, the Indiana General Assembly, is rigging the outcomes against you and to get their desired result.
Right. And their ability to walk away and say, I tried.
Yeah. And one of the things that he is going to talk about is the psychosis of tyranny, in which an individual has an ability to ignore whatever facts they need to ignore to fit the worldview they want to have or they're told they're going to have. And also as a part of that, they've convinced themselves they can convince you of whatever the thing is.
We're seeing that right now, aren't we?
So they will take psychosis of tyranny and this is the new official, my new favorite phrase in the history of ever. It's going to become the most used phrase on this radio program, where they can ignore whatever they need to ignore to come to the viewpoint they need to come to, and they've convinced themselves that they can convince you of whatever thing they've decided on is. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's it exactly.
And so we are seeing this play out in real time with our governor. And part of how Dan and I were talking about this and came up with this phrase was, I said, it is amazing to me the governor knows how angry people are about property taxes. He knows how upset the populace is at that property tax bill. He knows he's not moving the needle no matter how many ads he runs or interviews he does or whatever. People have made up their mind about how bad it is, and yet he will not move off this position that the people hate. And every time he talks about the position, not only is he not moving off it, he continues to talk about it.
Yep.
And it just makes the populace more mad at him every time he opens his mouth.
Right. It's like he's still trying to convince everybody, even though they're not going to be convinced. So that is the psychosis of tyranny.
So the latest example of this, so Abdul does this every so often, where he'll just put up on his Indie Politics website, hey, I want to take an informal survey. Now, he does not pretend that this is scientific. He does not present it as such, but it is a great opportunity for us, society, to sort of see where the uber engaged are at. Because let's face it, the people who are engaging in Abdul's indie politics tend to be the more engaged, aware people. If you're reading that, if you're listening to this radio station, you are aware of what's going on around you. And he did one of these. It was basically a 24-hour window where he'll just put these things up and say, hey, whoever takes it, takes it. And it'll give me an idea of where the connected people, not connected in the sense of the powerful, but the connected in the sense of the engaged, are at. And he did one of these on Saturday. It came out last night.
Yeah.
He described it, and he'll be with us obviously on Wednesday to talk about the nuts and bolts of this. But he was amazed at the level of engagement. I think they had just under 1,000 people take this survey.
He said more than 830 people responded.
And 70% of the people disapproved of the job the governor was doing.
Yeah. And the majority of the people, 70%, identified as Republicans or conservatives. So what you're seeing then is the people who took the survey, the base, are not happy with the governor.
And what's fascinating about this is Abdul's surveys in the past, like under Holcomb, even though polling was showing that Holcomb was not doing well, and final exit polling on Holcomb showed that he went out as he deserved, a pretty unpopular governor. In Abdul's survey, because it tends to be the connected people, Holcomb would always end up showing up in the 50% or more approval rating, because that's, let's face it, that's the connected people that tend to generally take this poll. And in this case, that means only 3 out of every 10 people in the connected, which is, like you said, the base of Braun's support. So the actual number, if you were to do a scientific poll for Braun right now, it's probably worse than this, because this is the people who should still be, hey, red no matter what people, for the most part, and he is doing horribly amongst those people.
So 72% of people lived in central Indiana. You had 20% in Indianapolis, 36% in the donut counties, and 17% in the rest of central Indiana. He did get some people in northern Indiana and southern Indiana who took part of this poll.
Sure, and obviously it's indie politics. It tends to be a centrally based thing.
Right.
That's where Abdul's reaches. And so that's one of the things about this survey that's interesting. Abdul does put some safeguards in there to try to make sure it's not bots taking the survey, to make sure you got to have, valid address, et cetera. Now, so let's talk about some of the other numbers that are in here that is fascinating.
Okay.
81% of the people disapproved of the job the lawmakers did this past season. So as bad as Braun was, it was even worse for the lawmakers.
The stat below that is even worse.
85% disapproved of the job lawmakers did regarding property taxes. So all of this is coming back to this one issue, right, which is property taxes. And the lawmakers don't care as much as the governor should care, because they can divide and conquer. There's 100+ Republicans. It's going to be very hard. You're never going to get all of them. You might be able to get 20% of them in a great year. So they're like, well, okay, you hate me, but good luck. You got to run a good challenger. That person's got to be funded, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's really hard to get all of these people, especially once you get outside of the WIBC listing area, the 25 counties or whatever where we're very prominently listened to. So, yes, the rage is intense. They're probably not as worried about this, though, as the governor should be, because at this point, if you're anyone remotely decent, you've got to be looking at Braun going, I could run against him and win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have any ability to raise money, if you have any ability to message, you are in the catbird seat. Now, here's the other thing that's very interesting about this, and I know he doesn't want to hear it, but Micah Beckwith needs to pay attention to this, because in this survey, and I know Micah's people pushed this out, by the way, so a bunch of Micah's, that's what's really interesting. Micah's people were part of the people taking this survey. Right. So, Braun, Micah's people hate you, okay, right? Like, they were pushing this out. 54% of the people disapproved of the job Micah Beckwith's doing as lieutenant governor. Mm-hmm. Micah needs to wake up to this, because the people are mad at Micah because he is not using his voice the way he promised to use to be a check and balance on not only Braun, but also the General Assembly.
Yeah.
It's right here in black and white. You don't have to, look, I know, and I'm surprised by this, that Micah has responded so poorly to tough love. My approach with being tough on Micah was, hey, apparently the people calling the shots over there in that office, the people who are the actual decision makers, don't love Micah enough, or they're so concerned about the gravy train thing that they're not going to be honest with him. So we'll be honest with him, and he'll respond. He is not responding well to that. So, Micah, look at this. People are pissed at you. Not as pissed as they are at Braun, because a bunch of your people took this survey, but they are also mad at you because you are not doing the thing that you promised to do, which is when Braun and the General Assembly got squirrely, you would speak out against them.
Okay, so tough love didn't work. Maybe a softer approach.
Well, I ain't got that, so that's going to have to be you. One other one I did want to mention, we'll mention this survey throughout the course of the show today, and we got to mention this. 80% disapproved of the job Diego Morales is doing.
That's not really a surprise, though.
No, it should be. Now, Diego, of course, is a total narcissist sociopath, so he doesn't care at all, I'm sure. But he will care when he goes to convention, because these are the sort of people that are going to be at that convention and voting. The type of people that are taking this survey are the people who will be voting at convention, which is how the Secretary of State is picked. So we'll go through some more of this throughout the course of the show today.
Yeah.
But again, not scientific, but a lot of people took this, and they are the people who tend to make up the base of the Republican Party for the most part.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The pothole. Formed in colder months, tiny fissures are born, and in no time at all, they grow into big, gigantic tire killers. That's why you need Matt Baird Traffic.
Watch out on Keystone Avenue.
He'll guide you around these hidden monsters.
Yeah, might as well call it a basement.
And on to safer ground.
You don't want to be in the far left lane.
Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Concrete Floor Coatings. You already know if your garage concrete has stains and cracks, or you've got a bad epoxy job, it makes your whole garage look bad. Guaranteed, a Comer & Cross garage floor will transform your garage in just one day. But did you know? We transform concrete patios and concrete pool decks beautifully. Our patios and pool decks are guaranteed and turn out way better than new, at a fraction of the cost of replacing them. And we make it so so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We'll fix your cracks and pits perfectly and apply your gleaming new Comer & Cross proprietary guaranteed finish. If you call us within the next 10 minutes for your quick and easy estimate, you'll get a free Samsung 70-inch flat screen TV or $500 credit. Free with every garage floor, pool deck, or patio we transform. Call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR now. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob. You know the Indy 500 is coming up. Lots of hats out there. For me, I say, why wear a hat when I have hair? Thanks to my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. Time to get out there. Call We Grow Hair Indy right now at 317-522-2995. Get your hairline back. No more covering that bald spot. No need to wear a hat. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and get a free evaluation. Call 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995.
For the biggest selection of Mother's Day gifts, shop Cynthia's Hallmark at 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brook School Road, 96th and Lantern Road in Fishers, and in Greenfield.
Join our B&W Premier Club for additional benefits and exclusive discounts.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, B+W.com, your American Standard air dealer.
And it's a run for the roses as fast as you can.
How about a horse named Sovereignty winning the Kentucky Derby over the weekend? Over a horse named Journalism. Also over a horse named Publisher.
Just let the music go for a few seconds. It's Fogelberg. We get one chance a year to play this song. It's about the Kentucky Derby.
Enjoy.
And it's high time you joined in the dance.
What a beautiful voice. My gosh. Anyway, what were you saying? Sorry, I wouldn't listen to anything else. I missed something. Your lips were moving. I didn't process what you were saying.
Your lips are moving, but I'm not hearing what you're saying.
It's one of the great lines in musical history. It's a chance of a lifetime in a lifetime of chance. I mean, that's just beautifully, it's spellbindingly good. I mean, you were saying something. What happened?
I was saying that Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby over the weekend. That over Journalism and even Publisher. A lot of people said, well, of course, America's back.
Okay, so you've been to the Kentucky Derby as we laid out. And here's my issue with the Kentucky Derby.
What's that?
Well, because you know I got to have an issue with everything.
Of course you do.
It's a lot of buildup for a very short thing.
Yeah, it is. It's one race.
I mean, it's
2.5 minutes.
At least the Indy 500, it's a buildup, but it's a 2.5 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour event,
right?
And a whole the production. Then you don't just get one lap around the track. It's several
multiple laps.
What is it? 200? Yes.
So there are races all day long for the Kentucky Derby, but the actual Kentucky Derby is just one race.
This is what I asked you. Did you pay attention? You and Jim came over on Saturday, and I said, did you pay attention to any of the other races at the Kentucky while you were there at Churchill Downs? I mean, is it like people are?
Oh yeah, well you're betting on them. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're there, yeah, you're going to pay attention to them because you're probably betting on them, or there's what else are you going to do?
Well, that's why I don't.
Besides, have a mint julep and walk around.
Also, can I say, as someone who watches, this is the only horse race I watch every year. They are really leaning into, NBC was really leaning into the celebrity aspect of the thing.
Yes, they were, weren't they?
And I do wonder, okay, so they had Livy Dunn, who is she's a famous gymnast. Paul Skeens is her boyfriend. He is the pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's the big, kind of one of the big guys now. she is dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, she could barely complete the clearly telepromptered, welcome thing to the Indy 500. And I'm wondering, in a sport that tends to lean older, right? The people who engage in it, enjoy it, are they wanting to hear, because the Sandman horse was owned by some perfectly looking human influencer,
right?
Who had the personality of a Cracker Jack box. But my goodness, if you were to create a man in a lab, it would look exactly like this guy. But he was devoid of any semblance of personality when they're talking to him. Are people eating that up? Like, are people eating this woman who can barely read a teleprompter? Are people excited about the perfectly looking human with the personality of a Cracker Jack box?
Right.
Is that what's driving humanity now?
She sure is pretty to look at. And it's interesting that you mentioned Sandman because he was getting a lot of attention online. And I think that's, they had this influencer who was all over TikTok talking about Sandman. And I think that they were trying to bring in a younger generation to start embracing the Kentucky Derby.
Okay, so
that was the approach. That's how they're doing it.
This is your area of expertise. You're engaged in the social media, you did the lifestyle show. Because I'm watching this, and the guy who's interviewing this influencer dude, who I have no idea who he is, by the way.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not Mr. Pop Culture by any stretch, but I'm pretty aware of who big time mainstream people are. That's not good if you're interviewing some guy and you have to keep saying, because the interviewer dude clearly had no idea who he was either. Go, it's an influencer. Are you going to influence some people? It's like, you, buddy, the interviewer, have no idea who this guy is. You were clearly given an instruction with a little piece of paper who this guy is.
Sure.
Is that good for your sport? Is it good for your thing? When you're presenting this guy as some big deal and the average person would not know who he is?
Well, I mean, I think they're trying to open it up to a new audience, right?
But why?
The people who follow that guy know who he is.
It's the same thing I go through with golf, where they have tinkered enough with the rules of golf. It's the same thing with baseball we've had this conversation about, where they keep trying to change the thing to attract new people, and they're alienating the people that are the core of the audience, or it would seem that they are alienating the people who are the core of the audience in the process. We want owners that are kind of sketchy, little shady, getting banned from the sport. That's horse racing. That's what we want. The same way as nobody cares of a baseball game if your baseball guy is 3 hours long. Nobody cares. You know who cares? The people who don't watch baseball.
Well, apparently it's working, because NBC put out a press release and they said that their coverage was the highest it had been since 1989 as far as ratings go. They had 17.7 million viewers of the Derby this weekend.
Okay, so are they
6% increase from last year?
Are they trying to say that's because they had Livy Dunn for 5 seconds who could barely read from a teleprompter? They think people tuned in for that?
Well,
let me, hey, sweetie, let's stop what we're doing. Let's watch this blonde bimbo who can't even read words on a prompter. Really?
Is she a step up from Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir, who they've had in the past?
Are they racing people?
No, they were ice skaters.
Well, where are the racing people? Aren't there racing people that the people in the racing community, horse racing, know that would celebrate? I just think sometimes, and I get it, it's a numbers game, it's advertisers, we're trying to sell stuff, but in a niche sport, and I'm a golf person, so I can make fun of niche sports, or I can comment on niche sports, which horse racing is, IndyCar is, boxing is. When you cast such a wide net to try to bring people, are these people staying? Are they coming back for the? Are they going to be at the local horse racetrack betting next week?
No, they were hired hands.
So what's the win?
Yeah.
If it alienates your core audience and it doesn't grow consistently new people into the sport, what are you really doing?
So did you you watched the race, didn't you? And Larry Colmus with his call, he's been doing it for 25 years. He's on Cameo now. You can pay him $50. The guy who calls the race.
That's it?
Yeah,
that seems kind of cheap, doesn't it?
That's what I thought as well. But here he is announcing sovereignty as the winner.
Journalism is on the move as they turn for home, and sovereignty is coming with him on the outside. The two of them go right by with a furlong to run. Journalism and sovereignty, nose to nose, down to the last 16th of a mile. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baeza is third, but it will be sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby. Journalism and Baeza were next. Final Gambit was fourth. The final time was 2:02.31 seconds.
Very excited.
That person
We're
was
very
really
rich.
excited.
We're rich.
Somebody wants some money.
We're
today.
rich.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Greetings, Boomtown. Ever since this neighborhood switched to Xfinity Internet,
the Wi-Fi is booming!
Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile with one all-in plan.
So we've all got lightning-fast, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile.
You get the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best in-class equipment and unlimited data included. Plus, add an unlimited mobile line.
All for only $40 a month for 1 year. To celebrate this combo, we're mashing our shows together.
It's everything you need all in one plan. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with a premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay to stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
The impact of Trump's agenda on small businesses. You have a cloudy sky, but a clear radar, 50 degrees on Monument Circle, a high of 61. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:30.
Thanks to his policies, we're seeing tremendous demand for loans. That means investing in small businesses.
Small Business Administration Chief Kelly Loeffler speaking with Fox Business this morning about the positive impact of President Trump's work with small businesses.
We're seeing hiring take off at small businesses thanks to his leadership.
And the Trump administration says the April jobs report showed stronger than expected growth with nearly 178,000 jobs added. Target is adopting a new self-checkout policy given the recent number of shoplifting cases at their stores. The retailer announced it's now limiting self-checkout to shoppers with 10 items or less. The company also said that it's expanding its staff checkouts to improve efficiency. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. All three major indices are down this morning. The Dow is down 259 points to 41,317.43. The S&P 500 down 44 to 5686.67. And the NASDAQ is down 188 points this morning to 20,102.61. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell and Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Indiana roads are getting safer. Thanks to Indiana's new Safe Zones program, the hardworking men and women doing construction on Indiana's roads can work more safely. And you'll be safer too. Every year, people lose their lives in Indiana construction zones, often because they're driving too fast. The Safe Zones program from the Indiana Department of Transportation keeps speeds safer for workers, safer for drivers, safer for you. Now you'll see Safe Zone signs before you enter a construction zone, letting you know you need to slow down. To help you get used to the new Safe Zones program, the first time you're caught violating Safe Zone speeds, you'll get a warning to help you remember to slow down and keep the road safe for workers and other drivers. Thank you to legislative leaders and industry partners for creating the Indiana Safe Zones program to keep Hoosiers safe and for making Indiana a leader in road safety. Indiana Safe Zones. Safe speeds for everyone.
This is a message from the Indiana District Council of Labor's International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with a free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
All right, this latest allegation against Rokita is pretty spicy.
Yeah.
I like this. I'm here for this fight because this is it's going to be wild because somebody ain't telling the truth.
Right. And who's it going to be?
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. Todd Rokita is the Attorney General. By the way, one thing that we didn't mention in the Abdul Indie Politics survey, the guy who did the best in the survey was Rokita.
38% disapproved of the job he was doing.
Which is much better than the 70 Braun was at, 54 Micah was at, 80 Diego was. I mean, Rokita was the winner. And one of the takeaways from this is that what the people who took that survey, the base essentially is saying is that while whatever you think about Rokita, he says exactly what he thinks, and he don't hide, and he doesn't double speak. Now,
whether he should be saying it or not.
Well, right, and that's the issue is that he's the Attorney General. He's the Chief Law Enforcement Officer. He should be held to a higher standard than any other politician. But the average person doesn't process that. We process that on this show, and we're critical of Rokita because of that. But he just speaks first and thinks later. And now he has made this incredible claim about a senator from, I believe she's from Fort Wayne. Liz Brown is her name. And either he's telling the truth and she's lying, or she's telling the truth and he's lying. And either way, somebody's going to get in big trouble out of this if it can be proven.
Okay, so this is all surrounding House Bill 1531. And this is a bill that sailed through the House. It would have easily passed the Senate. It was really popular with lawmakers, popular with Hoosiers. The Trump administration was backing this as well. But Liz Brown, Senator, did not let it get to a vote.
Now, this was an immigration-related bill. You're right. It was an immigration enforcement-related bill. She did not, as you said, she killed it. So the committee, as a committee head, she has great discretion, authority, decide what lives and what dies. Now, the Speaker pro tem clearly didn't want it to pass either, Rod Bray, because he could have just moved it to another committee if he actually wanted it to pass. But this bill dies. People are upset about it. Rokita goes on Casey Hendrickson's radio program. Now, Casey Hendrickson is a broadcaster from northeastern Indiana.
He's in South Bend.
Right, and I think he's on a simulcast on a couple of other radio stations that company owns. And Rokita said that this senator, Liz Brown, killed this immigration bill because she told him, and this is the key, right? She told him she has an illegal immigrant in her family.
Right.
Which is an incredible claim to make. And Liz Brown then fired back and said this is not true. And she has now filed a complaint against Rokita with the Indiana Disciplinary Commission, which is like complaint number 9,333 with Rokita at the Disciplinary Commission, which is the body that oversees attorneys in the state of Indiana. Attorneys are held to a different standard than regular people. There's things they can and cannot do. Liz Brown is an attorney, and one of the things you have to be very careful of are claims, making false claims against other attorneys, which is why she took it to the Indiana Disciplinary Commission.
So he didn't say, I heard, or I've been told. He said, she told me.
Yes. She said, quote, she told me one of the reasons was she's got a family member who's an illegal alien. Do we actually have the audio clip of this?
Yeah, we do.
All right, let's play it.
I've reached out to both of them. I haven't heard a single reason as to why they would not allow 1531 to go forward. Do you have any idea why that is?
No, they won't answer the question for me either. Excuse me, I should check that. Liz Brown told me.
Okay.
One of the reasons was she's got a family member who's an illegal alien.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's that.
All right.
That she could hold up the wishes of an entire state, but there's that. She at least gets credit for giving an answer.
Okay, so the response in the Indiana Capitol Chronicle and others was, quote, Senator Brown does not have an illegal alien relative. This claim by Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita is blatantly false and is meant to be misleading to Indiana constituents to make them think that Senator Brown has a personal conflict in performing her duties as chair of the Senate Judiciary. Goes on to say these public erroneous statements are made in an attempt to hurt the credibility and transparency needed and expected in the Indiana state legislative process. So I am torn on this because this is why, of all the things you could make up or say about a lawmaker, this is so random. If it were anybody other than Rokita, I would say there's no doubt she absolutely said this to the person because it's the most salacious, random thing to make up, but it's Rokita, so I don't know because anything is actually possible.
So you're questioning it because it came from him.
I mean,
he knew he was on the radio when he said that.
Of course. He wanted it to get out there. He absolutely. Now, I don't know how you're going to prove or disprove this because if she does have an illegal immigrant family member, which she claims she doesn't, then that's a pretty easy win for Rokita. He can say, here's so-and-so, they're an illegal immigrant, I rest my case, right? But if that doesn't exist, why would she say that if that person cannot be found? That's really the standard. If Rokita knows who the person is or can find that person and present and go, here is the illegal immigrant family member, then he's got a pretty good leg to stand on. If he can't produce that person,
right?
Why would she make that up? You see how you're looking back at me because it is beyond preposterous. This whole thing, I'm so interested in this, Casey, because either we have someone who killed a bill because, first of all, the other part we didn't mention is why would you be stupid enough to say that to Rokita?
Right, of all people.
Like he ain't gonna use that against you. So either you have one of the most powerful people in the Indiana General Assembly who not only is crafting public policy around her own personal interest, but also has an illegal immigrant family member in her family member by which is causing her to create public policy for 7 million people or is influencing public policy for 7 million people. And she's stupid enough to tell that to Todd Rokita. Or Rokita, the Attorney General, is just making this up.
Well, right. And if that's the case, wow, why would he do that? So I guess she supported a different bill. She liked House Enrolled Act 1393. But she said that she's filed this grievance against him and now a request for an investigation.
Okay, so this
into his comments. This is a he said, she said thing.
Yeah, but this tends to me now. Again, I have no idea what the truth is in all of this, and I don't know if we'll be able to figure it out. But it gives some credence to her because she's now putting herself under the microscope and scrutiny based on this filing that she has made. She's basically opening the door for herself and her family to be investigated, and that tends to say, it's discovery, right? And now this is not a civil lawsuit, so it's a little bit different, but it will open the door for there to be an investigation. And didn't Rokita say something?
He said it was a weaponization of the Indiana court system and another attempt to silence him.
But didn't he at one point tell her to get in line? Like he's had so many complaints against him. I think he said something like, tell her to get in line. This is crazy.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it was like...
That's the one thing I believe was said.
I'll have to try to find that story because the Capitol Chronicle story I don't think has the response in there, but maybe it does. Anyway, this is a crazy story. I am here for all of it. I need to know what happened because either way, somebody is probably, if they can prove it one way or another, going to be in big trouble.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon. We have a fun announcement. It's Monday Gun Day and the biggest stories in Indy, 93 WIBC.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Guys, this weather is crazy right now. One day it's hot, one day it's cold, and that means you are going to be all over the map on what you need your home to do. One day it's heat, one day it's air conditioning. Whatever it is, you need to make sure your windows are working properly because that's a big part of how you feel in your own home. That's why Universal Windows Direct is here with their home improvement season sale. You'll get 50% off your windows. Yes, half off. You heard right. You can upgrade your home with beautiful energy-efficient windows for half the cost. But it gets even better. For a limited time, you'll get no interest and no payments for 12 months. It's a whole year to enjoy your new windows before you pay a single cent. And here's the cherry on top. You'll receive a free entry door with your window purchase. That's right. So 50% off your windows, half off, no interest, no payments for 12 months, and a free entry door with your new purchase. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the information and get your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 61,995, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Here's Comedians and Skechers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Big stories locally, big moves in Washington. WIBC.com keeps you updated throughout the day with all the news that matters, plus traffic, weather, and more on your phone, your laptop, wherever you are. It's news when you need it.
They say you got a boyfriend. You're out late every weekend. They're talking about you and it's bringing me down.
There's a big trial that starts today, Rob. Sean Combs. Diddy. He's accused of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting people across state lines for prostitution.
They really threw the book at him, didn't they?
They sure did. Prosecutors allege that for over 20 years, he used his fame and business empire to abuse and exploit women in private and coerce them into gatherings known as freak-offs.
And there appears to be, now obviously everybody's innocent until guilt is proven in a court of law, but there appears to be an overwhelming amount of evidence on some of these charges that this was taking place.
Federal agents seized 96 electronic devices from his house.
But I think the bigger issue here is it sounds like, now we'll see again what witnesses say, et cetera, but it sounds like this stuff was pretty well known
throughout Hollywood,
and everybody propped this guy up. And oh, look at him, and he's the he had all these deals and endorsements, and was on television, and was a mogul this and social climber that, and it's sort of like same thing with Weinstein, right? Everybody kind of knew that was going on, and so it really does put in perspective the hypocrisy of so many of these people who will judge you for your lifestyle, and yet they know these alleged, very vicious, nasty, I guess, predators. I mean, again, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but if what he's accused of is even remotely true, a complete and utter predator is amongst them, and nobody did anything about it.
Nobody stepped up to stop it.
And there's big names that allegedly knew as well.
Yeah, we'll see if those big names get mentioned during this trial. It's supposed to last about 8 weeks. He was given permission to wear non-prison clothing for his trial. So he's allowed to have 5 button-down shirts, 5 pairs of pants, 5 sweaters, up to 5 pairs of socks, and 2 pairs of shoes without laces.
There's some statistic, I forget what it is, I have to ask Abdul. It's something like 90% of cases that the federal government goes after, they get a conviction or a plea bargain in. Like, it's the odds of beating the federal government because of the full weight and force by which they can come at you. They have unlimited resources. Is very small. So it'll be fascinating with the litany of charges that he's facing. You would think almost impossible that they wouldn't get him on something.
Yeah. Well, he did plead not guilty to all of the counts. And if he is found guilty, I mean, just one of the charges alone has a minimum of 15 years to life prison sentence.
Well, and look, is sex trafficking one of the charges? Yeah.
Sex trafficking and racketeering.
That is, while a lot of these are very serious charges, we do a lot of things to try to help out Project Rescue, which is a great organization. All the I Hate and I Love Rob Kendall shirts go there, and Life Church does a lot of work with them. That's a super serious thing where people are basically, in many cases, essentially they become prisoners. They become sex prisoners. And not even people we're talking about who are coming to this country legally, that's much of the immigration conversation right now. Illegal immigration conversation is how this human sex trafficking. But it's true in this country, people that are legal citizens. And it's not even people that are getting drug across state lines or whatever. There's a whole lot of people in this world who become essentially indentured sex servants. And if this is true, what they're alleging about this guy, there is no punishment you could throw at him that would be severe enough.
So prosecutors describe a lot of it as highly orchestrated sex performances. And some of these people seem to have gotten caught up in this because they wanted to make it in the business, in the industry. And this was one of the steps they had to go through to be accepted. And interesting, yet just yesterday, Donald Trump came out and he said the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. And he's putting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that were produced in foreign lands.
Foreign films.
Foreign films. He said we want movies made in America again.
And again, this is not, look, lots of people engage in open sexual lifestyles, and this is not a condemnation. I'm not saying this like that you're a bad person if you do that. It's your choice. If you're an adult, you're a consenting adult, everybody's doing what they want to do. I don't want to confuse the things, whatever my personal opinion might be. If everybody's consenting and nobody has power over anybody, you sleep with however many people you want to sleep with at a time or separate or whatever. That's none of my business. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about somebody through force leveraging power and via threat, coercing somebody into behavior, not only with that person, but also other oftentimes strangers feeling they had no say over the matter. These are worlds apart. And it's not the promiscuous lifestyle. It's not about condemning a promiscuous lifestyle or an open lifestyle. It's about condemning and hopefully punishing, if indeed he is convicted of this, people that are using power over other people to force them into sexual encounters.
So Combs' legal team, they're arguing that these sexual acts were consensual, and they're claiming now that the prosecution is trying to criminalize private behavior.
Well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of evidence that gets thrown out in this thing. And you think he's a little nervous right now? I mean, he is looking at a life sentence. His life is on the line.
Yeah, he should be. I would be.
All right, when we come back, great American, Dr. Dan Stock, incredible doctor here in Central Indiana, great thinker. He's going to be with us to talk about how our state government has gotten so bad and how they're using the legislature, the rules of the legislature, to make it impossible to get reform in this state.
He joins us next on 93 WIBC.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high-turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower. Future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Marco Andretti. When you hit the pump, make a better choice for your wallet and the environment. Fuel up with an Indiana corn ethanol blend. Unleaded 88 contains up to 15% ethanol and can be used in virtually every car, while that yellow cap or Flex Fuel logo means you can grab the E85 pump. No matter which one you choose, you are lowering the greenhouse gas emissions and your bill to fill. So next time you get to empty, choose an ethanol blend for your refill. Find a station at incornandsoy.org/ethanol. This message is brought to you by Indiana's corn farmers and their checkoff.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
It's Cinco de Mayo. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but not as festive for some this year. Amid President Trump's illegal immigration crackdown, Fox's Peter Ducey reports from the White House.
Some big cities, including Chicago and Philadelphia, are calling off planned Cinco de Mayo celebrations today. Officials believe that people attending could be rounded up by ICE, something the acting director of ICE says is just silly.
It's a bad narrative that's being spun in the press, right? It's a talking point.
And the president seems less interested in rounding up illegal immigrants who might be going to a Cinco de Mayo parade. He's more interested than he is in sending the worst of the worst criminal suspects to Alcatraz.
That is the famous prison that closed in 1963, now a tourist attraction and historic landmark.
President Trump tells reporters it's coming back.
It's a symbol of law and order. And, it's got quite a history, frankly.
The president says he's directing the administration to reopen the hard-to-reach California Island jail, saying in a Truth Social post the new Alcatraz will be substantially enlarged and used to, quote, house America's most ruthless and violent offenders.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. President Trump, who keeps dismissing concerns tariffs he's imposed worldwide will put the economy in recession, is planning another tariff on foreign-made films.
Other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry.
He wants that tariff on movies made overseas to be 100%. The war in Gaza may soon escalate.
Israel's governing cabinet is granting approval to a plan to seize control of the entire Gaza Strip using military force and to maintain control for an undetermined period of time. The plan's approval comes as Israel's military issued a large call-up of its reserve soldiers as the Hamas terrorists in Gaza refuse to release remaining hostages taken on October 7th of 2023, including American citizen Edan Alexander.
Fox's Evan Brown. America's listening to Fox News.
This is Joe Cordell of
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Awarding Pence for his courage. Mostly cloudy, 52 on Monument Circle. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Former Indiana Governor and Vice President Mike Pence in the spotlight over the weekend.
It was President Kennedy's eloquence and example that first inspired me to believe that public service was a noble calling.
Pence was the recipient of the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award Sunday night in Boston for his actions on January 6th, defying President Donald Trump's claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen and that he shouldn't certify the election for former President Joe Biden. 2 teenage boys are in custody after leading Speedway officers on a chase in a stolen vehicle. The 12 and 14-year-old boys caught at around 4:30 in the morning Saturday near Parkwood Drive and Crawfordsville Road. Police say the 14-year-old was driving a stolen 2016 Kia sedan that ended up damaging a 2003 Ford F-150 pickup truck. He faces multiple felony charges, including auto theft, resisting law enforcement, and kidnapping using a vehicle. The 12-year-old has also been charged. Your county's health department budget may not be what they expected, and some of them are having to do away with some programming. Chris Davis reports.
That's thanks to a cut from $100 million to $40 million in the state budget, blamed on a projection that says the state budget faces a nearly $2.5 billion shortfall for the next 2 years.
We absolutely will not be able to provide some of the same programs we're providing this year.
Betsy Swearingen is head of the Johnson County Health Department.
Or I guess I should say we are not going to be able to fund the partnerships.
She tells Wish TV's All Indiana Politics that they will keep the basics like vaccinations and health inspections, but planned tobacco cessation and CPR programs have to go. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Off to a hot start, talking about the Indiana Pacers stealing home court advantage from the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. Indiana taking Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semis 121-112. Game 2 is in Cleveland tomorrow night. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey, back in 1 minute.
Mother's Day shopping is easy at Cynthia's Hallmark. It's Terry Stacy. Not only Mother's Day, but graduation gifts too. First, take advantage of Cynthia's tote sale featuring huge 17 by 16 quilted totes in beautiful spring colors, just $9.98 and 20% off everything you can fit inside. Some exclusions apply. Ronaldo jewelry in Greenfield is the perfect gift for graduation and Mother's Day. Every piece of Ronaldo jewelry is thoughtfully designed to tell a story. A beautiful personal gift for sure. Lemon Lavender is one of Cynthia's best-selling product lines, full of the perfect spa day products to pamper mom, from silky satin pillowcases to Sheet Dreams face masks. And Cynthia's carries super silky, soft lounge shirts and pants in trendy colors and patterns. Add a pair of microwavable slippers or Warm Pal plush for the perfect gift. Lots of gift ideas for gardeners, too. Shop locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark for Mother's Day, 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brooks School Road, 96th and Lantern Road, and in Greenfield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, it appears the populace is unhappy with the state government.
Oh, this is a news flash? Wait a minute. This is not new.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. And, of course, we started out the show talking about that just disastrous informal survey Abdul put out where basically the entire state of Indiana is telling the government, eat crap and die.
No kidding. When you look at nearly 1,000 people participating and the majority of them saying that they're Republicans or conservative, that's how they identify, and they all said,
yeah.
Well, yikes.
So we're problem solvers here in the Kendall and Casey Show, and we said we've got to figure out a way to fix the state government. It's not enough to just complain. We have to provide solutions. And we, of course, we're flat out of answers. But we got a guy.
We tried.
We got a guy who's got an answer.
Right?
And in all seriousness, there are systemic issues. We talk about this a lot on the show with how the state government, how the General Assembly operates. Because if you look in that poll Abdul did, as unpopular as Braun is, the legislature was far more even unpopular than Braun was, and they deserve every bit of it. So let's figure out how to fix the Indiana General Assembly, shall we?
Okay.
Pleased to welcome our good friend, Dr. Dan Stock. He is, he's a national treasure. He's with the Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability. Dan Stock, hello.
Thanks, guys, for having me on.
All right, so you have been talking about this for quite a while. You say that we're not going to fix anything until we fix how the General Assembly operates. Tell.
Yeah, you got to understand how things work inside the General Assembly. Right now, you guys, we elect a senator and a representative. We give him our power so that he can go in and make laws, and he walks in and he gives it away for free.
What do you mean he gives it away for free?
So they vote for these rules of the chamber that take away their ability to control the debate and propose laws, and they give it to the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem.
Okay, so let's stop there for a second with that, because this is super interesting, and this is why Danny may have heard our show's number one, because we not only entertain but we educate, and this is really important what we're about to tell you, because we see this every year at the end of session. We saw it again where there is mass chaos in the final days of the session, late into the night. All of these things that have gone through hearings for months die or go away. Things that never got hearings become law, like now the governor controls the board of trustees at IU. And you're saying this is because of how the rules are set up.
That's right. And this kind of sets up a psychosis that your legislator actually probably believes himself and wants you to believe as well, which is that he's powerless to do anything about these insane laws that get passed. Well, the only reason he's powerless is because he gave away the power, and he does that by voting for these rules that then he can actually hide behind the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem, so that when the lobbyists get their way, they can blame the leader of the chamber, and they look like they're blameless, and they can still get the campaign cash that's going to be donated to the Speaker and the President pro tem, to the funds that they control. And now they can get out of this conflict between the lobbyists and their constituents and look like they're clean, both in the minds of their constituents and in themselves.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second, because this is super interesting, and I got to admit, you've done a great job of educating me on this. So let's look at an example. Our old pal Prescott, J.D. Prescott, he comes out and goes, I have a plan to get out of property taxes. He knows that bill is never going to get a hearing because of the way the rules are set up, yet he can come to us and our audience, lie is a strong word, mislead for a long time, going, I'm going to push this bill, I'm going to try to get this thing forward. But then he can hide behind the Speaker of the House, the heads of these committees, and go, well, I would have loved for that to have gone forward, but, well, gosh darn it, they wouldn't even give it a hearing.
Well, and that's the thing that we need to push out to somebody like J.D. Prescott is, J.D., you did have a way out of this. You could have actually said, hey, we need to change these rules. The fact that we give all the power to see which bills are going to get heard and not heard to a single man who is terribly influenced by campaign cash being threatened all day long means that you've actually divided our legislature up so they can be conquered.
But it sounds like it wouldn't be in their best interest to change the rules. Like, they don't want to do that.
Well, I think that a lot of them just have never thought of it. And I can tell you, when I've talked with a lot of these legislators, they get this glassy look in their eyes like, wait a minute, what? And we have to remember that these guys have only known this crony capitalist psychosis since the day they walked in the legislature. On orientation day, they get told about, hey, here's how you get things done. You go along, you do this. And their minds become locked into this like my dog who will bring me my leash so that I can take her for a walk even though she can outrun me.
Dr. Dan Stock is our guest, and we're talking about how to actually reform the state government to stop this insanity that's producing this just rage from the citizens. It's called Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability. So what should be done? What needs to be changed in order to stop this?
So we've got this on our website, and I would encourage everybody to go to fixmylegislature.com and read about the 4 changes in the rules we want done.
Fixmylegislature.com.
So basically, this is the one thing that your senator and representative can't shirk responsibility on, because the rules of the chamber are set by a simple majority vote of the chamber. He has as much power as the Speaker of the House, any committee chairman, to change those rules. So when he says, I went along with this, he's completely responsible for that. And what we can do is go to them and say, look, this game only worked on the fact that we were naive. We're not naive anymore. We know that you have the ability to fix this by changing these rules. And it's in your best interest to do so, because we actually do think that the majority of legislators would love to serve their constituents. They just are afraid to stand up and say, hey, there is a fix to this. The lobbyists won't like it, but we have the ability to do this. And if they know we've got their back and that we're going to take their flank if they don't, then they can go in and change these rules, and now they can't be divided and conquered, because they're all going to have to vote on every bill on some way or another. They're going to be on record on what they supported and what they didn't. Mm-hmm. And it's avoiding going on the record about what you supported and what you didn't that actually makes it so they can be conquered by the lobbyists.
Now, you talked to the governor about this, and you said it didn't go well.
Well, actually, it went great back in March of 2023 before he was running he had announced and was actually in the campaign. I sat down with him and another freedom advocate and said, hey, we think these rules are the primary problem in the chambers. And he said, I support all of this.
Yeah.
Of course.
What happened?
Well, in October of 24, when he was running for governor, we met him at the Indy Defenders of Liberty, and he conveniently didn't remember any of that conversation. We said, well, okay, we're happy to sit down and go over it with you again. Where are you going to make a decision on this? And he said, well, after the election.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, then after the election, we started pestering him. After all, you're a busy man. You got to reform a government that Governor Holcomb destroyed, we understand. But, we didn't seem to get anywhere except with one of his functionaries in his administration. Actually met with this functionary in his office and said, hey, we're trying to give Mr. Braun a way out of, becoming our champion here and still fulfilling his promises on property tax and all of that. We've got this solution. The functionary even said, boy, this is very well thought out. We'd never seen anything like this before. And then all of a sudden,
we've never seen anything well thought out before.
Well, then it's all going great until about 2 weeks before the property tax debacle comes down and communication stops.
Oh, you got the silence too.
Yeah, well, I was promised, we're going to get you contacts of people who can help with this and all of that. And then the contact stopped. Finally, I get back to this functionary and said, hey, look, things are getting ugly here. If you really want this agenda to go through here, you're going to have to reform the legislature. You're going to get what lobbyists want. And we've got a solution. And is he going to endorse this or not? And I got about 4 equivocal answers. And I finally said, look, is Governor Braun going to endorse the CCLA like Mecum did early on in the campaign? And he finally said no.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
you went from ghosting to flat out no.
But, yeah, pretty much.
It's sort of like my dating career before I got married.
They try to blow you off long enough until you just won't stop, and then they give you a flat-out no. So is it the governor who is the one who has the ability to change these rules?
Well, the governor doesn't have the ability to change these rules, but remember, these rules changes never get done because of naivete and ignorance, and he does have the ability to make this become something that everybody knows about. So, for instance, he has the ability to call a special session. And he can call a special session for nothing other than rules reform first and property tax second.
There you go.
And if he does that, now all of a sudden this house of cards comes crashing down because they either have to sit down and say, boy, the governor told us to do rules reform, and we just completely didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now they've admitted to everybody that, hey, we maintained this problem. We were so scared of lobbyists that we ran away from them. And now we know we can go replace them with people who are less frightened.
Yeah, and it would get media coverage. That's the thing you're saying. It's the same thing we're saying with the property tax, which is even if you fail, the light you would shine on the thing would do a lot of good long term.
Especially since, look, there's a lot of good legislators, or maybe they're just mediocre legislators, but they really doubt that the constituency understands this and is going to come to their aid. And if the governor takes the lead on this to educate people, along with the CCLA, that, look, there is a way to make it so our government actually is a representative Republican government, not a crony capitalist, facade, then we would actually have the support for our legislators so they could look at the lobbyists and say, hey, look, we're going to be more like Florida. All right. And that's where the governor, I think, is missing the opportunity. We would love him to be our hero. We would be more than happy for him to be the one who leads this charge.
Yes.
But right now, he either doesn't understand or doesn't have the courage or is a mustache-twirling villain or some combination of the three.
Hey, by the way, I want to give you about a minute on this. You gave me a phrase. We're going to steal it. It's going to become an official phrase of the Kendall and Casey show.
Mustache-twirling villain?
Well.
I like that one.
We were talking before we went on air here about what's going on, and you used the phrase psychosis of tyranny. And I love that phrase. And if, like, in 1 minute, if you could explain what that is, so that way when we use it going forward, I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, you have to understand that the human brain has a great ability to ignore information when it wants to. And if you practice this long enough, you get good at it.
This is like a real thing.
Yeah, it's physical. I can even tell you the circuitry if you want to get boring here for a while.
No,
yeah,
Dan,
but let's not do that.
You're way too smart for this show.
Instead, let's just remember that to become a tyrant, the first thing you have to do is become so good at ignorance that you no longer can perceive your own limitations. And we got to remember there's a component of this when you've practiced working in Washington, D.C., and let's face it, Governor Braun just spent 6 years practicing the worst crony capitalist psychosis known to man,
that
you come out and you're pretty sure you can sell all Hoosiers on your psychosis, and I can talk my way out of this mess I'm in.
Because real quick, Dan and I were talking about, it's amazing to me in this poll, this Indie Politics poll, survey poll, whatever you want to call it, shows everybody's mad about one thing.
Right.
And we were saying it's amazing that there's this one thing that if he would just try to fix it, people would feel better about him, and yet he refuses not only to fix it, he's all in on...
He's bragging about
which
it,
is
proud
property
and
taxes.
historic, and we hear about how wonderful it is.
And you say it's the psychosis of tyranny.
Well, like I say, he's like my dog. He's practiced bringing the leash over so we can take him for a walk so long, he just doesn't understand another way to take a walk. And so the lobbyists do this, and he said, okay, sure, I think
That's
I can sell roosters
amazing.
on this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So in you think in Braun's mind, he has just been taught now, or taught himself, or whatever, to just say no matter what the issue is, I'll be able to talk people out of it or into it.
You know, this is the thing that makes you survive in a government. Other than Mr. Trump, who doesn't seem so good at this as other people are, this is what allows you to become a useful ignoramus, is the term I like to use. And these guys who think they're moving up through government frequently think they're doing it because I've got great solutions and I'm a smart guy. And the reality is they're just usefully ignorant. Now, they can be broken of that, and I can tell you.
And he's a medical doctor, so people can't say he's not really smart.
There's two ways you can beat the other army. You know, you can kill all of their soldiers. That's a lot of mess. The other thing is you can get their soldiers rehabilitated and fighting for you, and that's what we'd really rather do. But, that's a tough thing to do when you've got somebody who's like our legislators, like our governor, who has been practicing this kind of psychosis, that there's nothing I can do but what the lobbyists want. It's tough to get them broken of that.
Is this learned behavior or is it innate?
It's totally learned. I mean, the circuitry is there that's innate, but you can take any circuitry in the brain and you can train it to work under certain conditions. What these guys are trained to do is, look, if you want to get anything done, you have to do what those of us with campaign cash want. And they fall into this psychosis that somehow or other, if I'm just good to Hitler, he's going to be good to me. And the answer is, Hitler's always going to be good to Hitler. And they don't understand this after they've practiced this long enough.
That's an amazing phrase. We're totally stealing it. All right, the Citizens Coalition for Legislature Accountability, fixmylegislature.com. Dr. Dan Stock, thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate your having me on.
Yeah, good stuff. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
President Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz, house America's most ruthless and violent offender.
Hear the news.
Indiana Pacers beat the Cleveland Cavs. We came out, played with a lot of confidence, and led to good things for us. So we're making shots like that. We're tough to beat. Cavs lose home court advantage in the series.
As events happen,
Mike Pence receiving Profile and Courage Award.
We'll happen to be there.
By God's grace, I did my duty that day.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
It's spring in Indianapolis, and the air is bright with birdsong and re-emerging life. But you can hear something else downtown, or rumbling along the banks of the White River. The greatest spectacle in racing is coming. For me and 400,000 annual pilgrims like me, that distant roar we hear brings a smile that lasts the whole month of May. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Robert Kirby reminds us you don't have to be blessed with American Standard equipment to be a customer.
Our technicians are trained to work on any make or model. We're real customer oriented, so we want to do the best for the customer. So we're going to give multiple options for repair, replacement, what's the best for the customer.
Just go to KirbyHeating.com. Serving Hendricks and surrounding counties, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Helzberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Helzberg.com or a store near you.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. For $35 a month, you get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
At Hendricks, our cancer care
is in the details.
When you are with us, and you have our time and you have our energy.
We have a wonderful team of highly trained oncologists, physical therapists, speech pathologists, dietitians.
Always making sure that the patient is the center of the care.
We have excellent nurse navigation that are skilled at identifying barriers to treatment, as well as expertise from Mayo Clinic.
It is more personal care than just a number.
Visit hendricks.org/cancer.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could beat lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text ENERGY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ENRGY to 42424. That's ENERGY to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Over the weekend, there were a couple memes that were put out of Donald Trump that were a little interesting. One was yesterday. He said, "Happy May the 4th to all." He was holding a lightsaber. Although somebody pointed out it was a red lightsaber, which means he's with the Empire.
Oh.
Not the rebellion.
I don't think he thought it through.
And then there was the AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope.
Yes.
That one sparked a range of reactions from people.
Why are people upset about it? Is it because people need something to be upset about?
Yeah. Somebody's got to be angry about something. Well, I think the people who were upset were thinking that Donald Trump was mocking Catholics.
Oh, get
with
out
that
of
picture.
here.
And also the fact that the Pope's funeral was just so recent and that Trump had attended it.
He was 9 million years old, Casey. It wasn't like he was in the prime of his life.
But there's also the other side that you could say maybe he was using that image as commentary on the lack of American representation in the papacy.
Or he's just totally self-absorbed and thought it'd be funny to make himself the Pope. Like, can't it just be that? And what all of the abuses of human rights and religious freedoms around the globe, and this is what people are in an uproar about, that some guy made a meme or a GIF or whatever you call it now of himself as the Pope. That's what did it in for you? Christians getting brutalized across the globe? Nah, nothing there. The Hamas lunatics who are killing Jews left and right? Nah, not that. Oh, but Trump made a picture of himself as the Pope. That's where we draw the line.
And the interesting thing, around 60% of U.S. Catholics voted for him in the last election. So perhaps the image was just to spark some discussion, not division.
Or it's just some guy on the internet. Like, this is what people need to realize. Trump is just your neighbor on the internet, except he's a billionaire and he's the president. That is something your neighbor Joe would make and think it's funny because it is funny. And if you don't find it funny, just go on to the next thing. Trump's not condemning Catholics. He's not attacking Catholics. He's not trying to stymie the speech or practice of religion of Catholics. He made a picture of himself as the Pope. That's it. Period. Full stop. There is zero wrong with that. He's not saying I'm God. He's not saying I'm bigger than God. He's not John Lennon. He's nothing, right? He did not even rise to the level of Lennon.
Yep. So there could be a broader message there as well from Trump saying, he's just promoting American exceptionalism, right? Rather than any sort of ill intent towards the Catholic community, which he's supported.
He's just a guy who made a meme of himself as the Pope.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it.
Somebody made it. He thought that's funny. Put it out there. There's no deep depth of thought to it. There's no underlying motive. He's just some rich, eccentric guy who finds things funny and puts them up on his internet page.
Okay, did you see the latest statistics on the Indianapolis Star newspaper, their print circulation?
I did. That's not great.
No, it's not.
It's not great. Now we'll say this for a reason. So what was it? 48. Well, the actual print is like what, 18,000 people?
18,187.
Now in the early 2000s, it was well over 350,000 people were getting the Indianapolis Star. It is now 18,000 people. The online, now I think if you're going to be fair, you've got to include the online, the digital subscription rate, which was what, 48,000 some. So you put them together, it's, what is that, 67,000 people. So really, I mean, you're looking at 300,000 fewer people are paying money for the Indianapolis Star than they were 25 years ago. Now,
correct.
In fairness, a lot of the Indy Star model now is advertising based, and stories are available, many of them for free. You don't need a subscription to get it because they're selling ads. However, you cannot walk away from that statistic realizing there are many, many fewer people. The footprint of the Indy Star, the amount of people consuming it, the influence that the Indy Star had is much less than it was 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well, when so much of their writing is biased and not fact-based.
Well, and this is, so I have, obviously a couple people that I don't know, friends is a strong word, but I'm professionally...
Acquaintance?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I'm professionally friendly with. Maybe how about that over at the Indy Star? Like James Briggs and I are, get along great. We don't agree on about anything, but I have the ability to know how the media operates. And many of our politicians haven't quite figured that out about how to work with or around the media. And so when you speak the same language, you can have political disagreements, but if you speak the same language, you know how to talk to one another, you can get along just fine. The city needs a thriving Indianapolis Star. The city is worse off when the Indianapolis Star is not thriving because they should be at the epicenter of holding both state and local governments accountable. And the reality is when you're dealing with that sort of gutting of subscription-based patrons, for lack of a better term, you're going to have fewer people out and about, which they do. You're going to have fewer people covering local governments across central Indiana, which they do. And that is not good for any of us because we need as many eyes and ears on as many of these people as possible because that's why they get away with the bull crap. They think, well, nobody's going to catch me. There's only so many so much manpower available in the Star or the Capitol Chronicle or whatever. And you're right, though, Casey. A big reason the Star has struggled is they do great straight reporting. This Thomas Carl Cook stuff was phenomenal. A lot of stuff they cover in the State House is great. But let's face it, there is a perceived, and oftentimes warranted, but there is a perceived leftist bias to their coverage, and Republicans and conservatives just said, I'm not paying for that.
So there was a while there there was talk about having a Micah Beckwith James Briggs debate right here on this program.
Briggs said he wasn't doing it, and I don't blame him. It wouldn't have gone well for him. Briggs would be fine debating him in a written format. That would not go well for him in a verbal format. Briggs is a smart guy. He recognized that wasn't going to go well for him. But I said I would
He's not going to win that debate.
Although Micah might not do it now if I'm the moderator because Micah's mad at me for telling him the truth, which he doesn't want to hear. But so maybe now they'd be more amenable to it since Micah's not happy with me.
I think we need to try and re-engage that. I think it would be fascinating for people to listen to.
It would be great. It'd be great radio, and I'd be very fair with the debate. Voicemails.
Yep, we've got those coming up from 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Concrete Floor Coatings. You already know if your garage concrete has stains and cracks, or you've got a bad epoxy job, it makes your whole garage look bad. Guaranteed, a Comer & Cross garage floor will transform your garage in just one day. But did you know? We transform concrete patios and concrete pool decks beautifully. Our patios and pool decks are guaranteed and turn out way better than new, at a fraction of the cost of replacing them. And we make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We'll fix your cracks and pits perfectly and apply your gleaming new Comer & Cross proprietary guaranteed finish. If you call us within the next 10 minutes for your quick and easy estimate, you'll get a free Samsung 70-inch flat-screen TV or $500 credit. Free with every garage floor, pool deck, or patio we transform. Call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR now. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
No signs of slowing down. It's cloudy, 52 degrees on Monument Circle. The high today, 61. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:32. President Donald Trump entering his 16th week in the Oval Office. He says this month he'll have a meeting with Canada's new leader, Mark Carney, and continue talks to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Trade negotiations with foreign nations are expected to continue too, right before the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs ends in July. President Donald Trump trying to keep Congress fully on board and indicating that at some point he will lower the tariffs on China.
Regardless, House Speaker Mike Johnson says both chambers of Congress are committed to reaching the same goals. Meantime, President Trump says there's a chance trade deals could be coming this week, though he did not give more details. Last week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sounded optimistic about conversations with India and Japan. Regarding China, the president says he won't be speaking with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Alex Palou dominating the day at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, winning his third race in the first four of this season. The series now comes to Indianapolis. The Pacers take game one from the Cavaliers last night in Cleveland, 121-112, and the Fever light up the scoreboard at the home of Caitlin Clark's Hawkeyes in Iowa, defeating Team Brazil in an exhibition game 108-44. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
The most important advice I can give to someone regarding their heating and air conditioning system is for them to change their filters.
And get regular maintenance from B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails.
The phone number 317-684-8444 if you'd like to participate with voicemails. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Before we get into that, did you find anything interesting? Rob Googled himself.
No, I just was reading an article, and then it took me down the rabbit hole, and then I always wondered, have you ever tried to find people with the same name as yourself and see what their life is like? Like what alternative life is someone with the same name as yourself living? Have you ever done that?
I have.
And
I found somebody in Germany who was a disc jockey.
How exciting.
I know. I actually sent her a message, too. She never got back to me.
Maybe she doesn't speak English.
Probably not.
Kev, you ever find somebody with the same name as you living an alternative life?
Yeah, there's a Catholic bishop in Ireland, actually. He has the same name as me.
That's pretty exciting.
There's also a Casey Daniels band.
Oh, that's what you looked up.
Is that a country band?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
They pop up a lot.
All right. No, I was just looking at things, and then it got me. You know how I get with the problem with the...
With the internet?
Well, I got the OCD, right? So then I get on things, and I can't get off things. And so one of the things I was looking up was just different people with the same name and seeing what sort of life they're... Because it is as though they're in an... you're in their alternate universe, or they're in your alternate universe. And I then wonder, has this person ever looked me up and wondered what my life was like, or is it just me because I'm a neurotic person with obsessive compulsive disorder?
Have you ever been mistaken for somebody else, like just the middle initials different? Like, we used to get somebody's mail a lot for the dude, and the middle initial was different.
No kidding.
And they were like, collections were pursuing them.
Yeah, that's bad.
And we were like, not us.
Yeah.
Not us.
Did you write not at this address and put it back in the envelope, back in the mailbox?
Just ignored it.
Really?
In the order it was received.
I think
yes.
I think the correct decorum, maybe we can ask Susan about this this coming Friday. I think the correct etiquette would be to write not at this address in big letters and then put it back in the mailbox.
You're looking for someone else. All right, let's get to your phone calls. This first one is about the Kentucky Derby.
Rob was, lamenting the Kentucky Derby, and I heard you almost burst out laughing when he said there's a whole lot of buildup for something that's over in a very short time. So I'm sure you're familiar with that, right? Whole lot of buildup, and then bam, it's over. So anyway, yeah, the Kentucky Derby, we watched, we enjoyed all of the lead up to it and everything else. And my wife and I always pick like 3 horses. We don't actually bet. I'm too cheap for that. But we at least pick them and see, who we have. And we had it on most of the time. So I enjoy it. I think it's great, and all the hats and everything else. But I know you were almost ready to burst out laughing when you heard that, when Rob said that. The same thing crossed your mind. Don't say it didn't. So anyway, you guys have a great week. Thank you.
I'm wondering if he stayed and watched the whole Derby performance because of Olivia Dunn.
Yeah. I mean, how much time did you spend actually watching the whole thing? Did you turn it on like 20 minutes before? Did you?
No, it was on an hour or so before, and I actually fell asleep, took a little nap, and then woke up in time for the race.
The prosecution rests,
yeah.
Your Honor.
So
right.
Olivia Dunn did not hold my attention.
I mean, these horse racing guys, to an outsider looking in, are almost like Dallas type characters, right? Back when I was a kid, they were these larger than life guys, Now this guy's suspended for cheating, all this other wild stuff. These rich, eccentric dudes with personality, a big personality. They're guys that you were interested to see, even if you didn't know them. I mean, you knew the names, Dwayne Lucas, the main guys, right? Bob Baffert, all these dudes. You knew them, but you were interested when they spoke because they sounded like they were someone. They sounded like some guy who you said, this guy, he might be engaged in some shenanigans, but I'm gosh darn it interested, Casey. And now these people, like when they were interviewing that emotionless influencer, it was like, does this man even have a soul? Like, what is going on here?
Here's another phone call. This one is about Mike Pence.
I heard old Pence got an award, Rob. I know your buddy, and I bet you're so excited. It's ridiculous. That old boy, he has a responsibility to the U.S. that he could have stopped the election from being certified, so they could have looked into the inadequate counts and things and the fake ballots. But no, he was pressured into it by the Democrats when they started that little raid on the Capitol. It was all planned by those people. It was.
So, Vice President Mike Pence, he was defending the Constitution after he got the Profile and Courage Award at the JFK Library from the JFK Library Foundation.
Well, here's my question about this. I mean, no doubt a guy who changes his mind as often as he changes his underwear would be put on the same level of courage of the president who gave his life for the country. I mean, what's never ever been explained to me by Pence or any of the gravy train brigade, those that are still left, is if he thought the election was above board, Why did he in Georgia?
Right.
Kev, I don't know if you can find that fast, but there is the audio of Mike Pence. We played it many times on this show. Days before January 6th in Georgia for that Senate runoff.
I think it was January 4th.
Giving validity to the claim. Do we have it? Or are you guessing? You actually have it. All right, let's play this.
You know, I know we all got our doubts about the last election.
Uh-huh.
And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities.
Uh-huh.
And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress.
Oh.
We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence. But tomorrow is Georgia's day.
So this is no one has ever from the Gravy Train Brigade or Pence himself has ever answered this, that if the objections were so ridiculous and you had no choice but to certify the election, why did you stand in front of tens of thousands of people that day in Georgia and say that people were going to have an opportunity to have their voice heard and have their say? If there was nothing you could do, if it was a fait accompli, why didn't you say, look, I get you guys are upset. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do about this. Hopefully it goes better next time. Mike Pence that is the most Mike Pence thing ever, where whatever room he's in, he'll tell those people what they want to hear, whatever benefits him most to say in whatever room he's in, that's what he'll tell the people.
So what you're saying is that it was a politician making things up, lying?
Well, lying's a strong word, Case.
Is it?
I mean, it's not like
saying what people want to hear.
Mike Pence has a track record of investing in companies that go belly up and stick the taxpayers with massive cost to clean up his mess. Oh, the Keel Brothers Oil Company. Oh, never mind. What were we saying? Sorry, I was just
we're moving on. We got a phone call from Indiana Joe.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Rob and Casey. Happy Cinco de Mayo. This is Indiana Joe down in Texas. This coming weekend, I'm going to be in Indianapolis with my Indiana State Sycamore son to go see a Pacer playoff game. I will be there Monday as well on May the 12th. I'd sure like to come to the studio and see how sausage is made, and I hope I get a chance to come see you. If not, maybe we could just have lunch after the show.
Look at that. He's offering to buy your Arby's.
Oh, man, but then I got to talk to him. What?
You're so rude.
No, I would prefer. Look, I love Indiana Joe, and I would be happy to have him come up here and see us do the show. If you're amenable to that, he's more than welcome. He's been a fan for a long time. I feel like my time to the public ends at noon. I give 3 hours a day, and then I just want to be left alone. What is that? Is there?
No,
is there something wrong with that?
That's great.
It's something. He's a phenomenal guy. He's more than welcome to come in. I'd love to meet him and do the show. I just don't want to. I don't want to at noon have to go be nice to somebody else.
He wants to see how the sausage is made, so maybe he can stop by the studio.
Are you? Does that like you're judging me by saying that? I can tell you're judging me that I said that.
I'm not judging you.
Unlike all these politicians, I say the stuff. I say exactly what I think, and what I think is I don't want to have to be nice to somebody I don't know. I mean, I know him through here. He's been a great listener. He's been a great fan.
Yeah,
and I will gladly, in my professional capacity, give him the opportunity to sit here and we'll shoot the breeze and take a photo and whatever else. I just don't have to be nice to a stranger at noon.
I love that you said that. It's fantastic. So, Joe, come into the studio, I think is what Rob is saying. Do we have time for another phone call?
You're in charge.
Okay, let's get one more. This person wants to comment on me juggling being married to somebody who works in Micah's office and you switching with Micah.
First one is for Casey is, what a juggling act you got to do. I get it, but you totally got it. Rob, you definitely should trade Micah for a day, because I would love to see you put a dent in the old fat cheeks of a few people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I've kind of moved off that. That was fun for a day or two. I really don't want to give Micah this show.
Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high-turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower. Future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity is up. Now is the best time in years to sell your home. However, some homes are sitting on the market. Hiring an expert who can maximize equity and minimize hassle is the key. That expert agent I recommend to sell your home is Mark Needle. You're worried, perhaps, with a challenging market, you won't sell your home for the price it's worth. Mark Needle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what David in Martinsville had to say about working with Mark Needle. We bought our dream property and had to sell our old place with land by the end of the year to avoid a big tax hit. We had an agent friend who gave us no activity for months. Worried, we turned to Mark Needle to save us. Mark's team took over, marketed our property like pros, and got our property sold in plenty of time. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Needle, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markneedle.com. It's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
The Indy 500 is not just a race. It's community. It means long bike rides along our city's beautiful canal paths down to the Speedway. It means tailgating with friends and family, some of whom you only see once a year. It means backpack coolers and headphones. But the Indy 500 is also a car race, and the best one in the world. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Recovery is a journey, and no one walks it alone. the Supporting Sobriety podcast helps friends and families understand addiction, offer support, and care for themselves along the way. Hosted by Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
From the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. Hello.
So over the weekend, I wasn't sure if Casey was going to go down to the Derby or not, because I know we had talked about it on Friday. So I send you a text message. This is after the Derby's over, and I'm just hammered drunk, I think, at home. And I said, hey, did you end up making it down to the Derby? And you sent me a picture of Rob Kendall sitting on his couch in socks, and I thought, I'll take that as a no.
No, didn't make it to the Derby, made it to Brownsburg.
She just confiscated my kid. She shows up, says, I'll put this kid to bed, and I didn't have to do any parenting. It was great. She timed it up perfectly.
I did that on purpose.
Mike, yeah, you did. You got there early, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I told Jim, I said, come on, let's hurry up. Maybe Livy will still be awake and I'll get to see her.
My kid has an incredible ability, and Gabrielle and I are amazed at this. She is a perfect angel around other people. And they're like, what a perfect child. You see, you don't see the hell on earth that is this kid when you're not here.
Who was it, Eddie Haskell and Leave It to Beaver? Is that who, was this really nice and polite guy to, the parents, but was really just kind of a scumbag behind the scenes?
She curled up in a little ball for you, and she was all sweet and
She
cuddly.
was. She was playing with my fingers.
You didn't see
my
her
jewelry
15 minutes before.
I loved it. Gave me some snuggles.
Oh, I think that's cute. Livy plays with your fingers. It's adorable. When I ask Rob to pull mine, he gets all mad.
Did you have a shirt on under your jacket?
No.
I didn't realize that until So you sent us pictures of your porch party from the Derby, which looked really fun. You and Crystal and the kid were hanging out, and you were all dressed up with a jacket on and a bow tie, and it looked like a pink shirt.
Nope.
That was not a pink shirt.
That's all Hammer right there. 100% pure Beach Grove Southern satisfaction, my lady.
That was fantastic.
I think he's doing the Chippendales look. Now, do people come over to your house when you're having the porch party? Or what do you?
So
how does that work?
I'm not as friendly with my neighbors as Nige is, right? Nigel likes all his people. They get together. My next door neighbor is a super old lady. She's been there forever, and she's awesome. My other neighbor is Chris, so yeah, he was there. The people across the street, we don't really know all that well. It's one of those deals where we'd stick up for each other. If we saw somebody trying to break into somebody's house, we'd shoot them. Yeah. But it's not necessarily a, hey, come over, I've got shots in the fridge kind of thing.
I felt bad for you because your horse never appeared on television at the Derby.
No, never. It was the second and third favorite on the list. It was Sandman and Luxor Cafe, and I don't think those horses have crossed the line yet. I think they're still down there just galloping sideways, just racing their little asses off to the finish line.
What a muddy track, too. Those jockeys and those horses covered with mud. That's one of the reasons why we didn't go down. I was like, I'm not going to go stand in the rain. Nah.
And that's what Crystal was saying, because we were always talking about, we're going to go next year. We're going to go next year. She was like, man, if I went this year, you know how ticked off I'd be if I got my fancy schmancy dress and the hat, and it's pouring down rain, and it's mud everywhere, and it just stinks.
Nah.
After the race, Gabrielle looks at me and goes, do the ones that don't win, do they go to the glue factory?
No.
Yes. It's on the NBC Sports app, actually. You can watch it, Gabrielle. And one by one, they just go up to a big diving board and then...
Oh, no.
I was commenting with Casey earlier. I said, I love the pageantry. However, the fact that we have people like Livy Dunn who can't read who is so stupid she can't read a teleprompter as the focal point now of this event, and then this influencer guy who, again, if you were to chisel a man out of stone, it would look like this guy, but he had the personality of a Cracker Jack box. These are the people they're showcasing now. Racing used to seem a little more animated than the coverage I saw the other day.
NBC usually drops the ball with their hosts on screen. Now, I'm not talking about the play-by-play guy. I'm talking about the people they have doing the wacky bits and stuff. You know, in years past, they've had some very flamboyant figure skater. They've had
Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski.
Thank you. And this year they had Livy Dunn, who, for those who don't know, very viral gymnast from LSU, super hot smoke show chick. She's in a relationship with Paul Skeens at the Pirates, but she's got the personality of a wet sock. And giving her the opportunity on the Kentucky Oaks, like their version of Carb Day on Friday, to do the Riders Up. That's supposed to be a big deal. It's like the gentlemen, start your engines. Riders Up is supposed to be big. Riders Up. That's all we got. That's all we got.
Let's go.
Yeah, and somebody, the whatever they're called, memes or whatever, were great. The one I sent you was somebody said, "Can you imagine Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens trying to do a puzzle together?"
Skeens might be able to pull it off. He's actually a pretty smart dude. He was at Air Force before he transferred to LSU because he realized, if I'm going to play professional baseball, I should probably go to the SEC. But he said once his playing career is over, he wants to go back and do like intel stuff for the Air Force.
Jeez.
So he's kind of an American badass. But Livy Dunn, she's cute.
She's got that going for you.
She's pretty.
What's going on in your world? What are we doing?
So today there's a clemency hearing for that rotten crap bag Benjamin Ritchie. And I hope anybody that's listening right now that knows somebody that's a part of this clemency hearing, make sure these people do the right thing, because this guy is one of the biggest scumbags that's ever set foot in the state of Indiana, and I hope he's executed on May 20th.
There's no way they're going to let him off, right? No way.
They're trying to pull his parents had fetal alcohol syndrome, and he's got it, and they're trying to pull every trick in the book, and I hope people don't fall for it. Because, honestly, that trick worked when it came to Breanne Leete's killer.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Hammer.
You
it is
got
Kendall
it.
and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, guys, it seems hard to believe, but Mother's Day is Sunday. And while we honor moms every day, Life Church invites you to join them on Mother's Day. There'll be special elements at each Life Church location to make sure your mom or mother figure feels celebrated and special. Whatever you do, Life Church says if you have your mom with you, be sure to give her a hug, a call, or a simple thank you. Let her know she's cherished. Celebrate her, celebrate love, and give thanks to the one who gave us both, Jesus Christ. Life Church's campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more about everything on the web, lifechurchin.com.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives remind you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, the former Indiana governor receiving an award for his courage. The Indiana State Parole Board holding a clemency hearing this hour, and why cuts are coming to local health departments. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Getting paid to get out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Trump administration has a new plan to incentivize more immigrants here illegally to leave the U.S.
DHS will announce today that they're going to start paying for the commercial flights of illegal aliens who self-deport from the U.S. And on top of that, they're going to pay them an additional $1,000 stipend once they're confirmed to have left the country. Now, DHS says doing this is going to be significantly cheaper for the American taxpayer. They tell us that right now it costs on average about $17,000 to arrest, detain, and deport someone.
That's Fox's Bill Malugin. It is Cinco de Mayo, but in some Democrat-led cities like Chicago and Philadelphia, celebrations have been canceled, fearing some who gather could be arrested and deported. Now, President Trump wants to make Alcatraz great again, planning to rebuild, enlarge, and then reopen the notorious prison that closed 62 years ago. It's now a tourist attraction in the San Francisco Bay.
It's long been a symbol, Alcatraz. It's a symbol of law and order.
Now, the president also said last night, returning to the White House, he's proposing a film industry gets some help. He claims it's dying.
If they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in.
He wants a 100% tariff on foreign films. The war in Gaza may soon get more intense. Israeli ministers approved a plan today to expand the fight against Hamas, which is still holding hostages taken in the 2023 terror attack. Israel wants to capture the entire Gaza Strip and occupy the Palestinian territory. They're starting to pick a jury today to put hip-hop star and music producer Sean Diddy Combs on trial.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges including sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors allege Diddy was the head of a criminal enterprise, abusing women and threatening violence for their participation in drug-fueled sex parties with male prostitutes called freak-offs.
That's Fox's CB Cotton outside the federal court in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Awarding him for his courage. It's cloudy, 62 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. After receiving the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award Sunday night in Boston, former Vice President and Indiana Governor Mike Pence said he did the right thing on January 6th, 2021.
I will always believe, by God's grace, I did my duty that day.
The award was given to Pence by the JFK Foundation for his courage in taking an unpopular stance against President Trump, certifying the election win for former President Joe Biden. The Indiana State Parole Board is holding a clemency hearing this hour for Benjamin Ritchie, who was convicted of killing a Beech Grove police officer in the year 2000. The state set his execution date in April for May 20th at the Indiana State Prison in Michigan City. Public records indicate the Indiana Parole Board will hear his case at the Indiana State Prison. Some county health departments won't be able to provide everything you might expect of them because of state budget cuts to public health. Betsy Swearingen is director of the Johnson County Health Department.
We have been good stewards with our finances in the past and have some residual funds still in our accounts. So we probably will focus some of those funds towards our programming.
She tells Wish TV's All Indiana Politics that she doesn't expect layoffs and basic services will continue, but some of their planned programs have got to go. The Pacers beating the Cavs 121-112 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tyrese Halliburton finished with another double-double. Game 2 is set for tomorrow night in Cleveland. And a chance to stretch their legs, the Indiana Fever taking their talents to Iowa City for an exhibition game with Team Brazil. So Caitlin Clark returning to her old stomping grounds. The Fever taking care of Brazil easily, scoring over 100 points. I'm Jarrett Lewis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Tamara and Nigel for Window Nation. May is officially here, and so are the rising temperatures. Beat the heat and keep the AC in your home with Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. During their semi-annual sale, you'll get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027.
That's a lot of savings and a super smart investment. So how exactly do they keep prices affordable? Window Nation works directly with the top window manufacturers in this country. Windows assembled right here in the USA. Plus, their windows come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Window Nation's semi-annual sale. It ends soon, so do not miss your chance to get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, you don't pay anything until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, it's bad news for the governor.
Yeah, things not looking so good according to this latest Abdul poll. It's hard to say. Say that 3 times fast.
Abdul poll.
You are such a professional.
Well, I am a trained. Been at this a long time.
Trained professional.
Not good at much, but verbalizing things is one. Yeah, so it's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So our old pal Abdul, of course, he runs Indie Politics, the website, indiepolitics.org. He does this from time to time where he does these, what he calls informal surveys, where he says, look, I'm not pretending this is scientific. I'm just he has safeguards so that it can't be a bot or people can't be taken in 4 or 5 times. But he wants to get the pulse of where generally, central Indiana is. And so he put out a survey on Saturday. It was open for 24 hours. He said just great response. Nearing 1,000 people, I think, ended up taking the survey. So it gives you a pretty good idea of, at the very least, where the politically astute people are. That by that I mean people that are paying attention to politics and government in the state of Indiana. And while it was bad news for basically every politician not named Todd Rokita amongst the people who filled it out, the two that really stood out, one top of the list was Mike Braun, in which 70% of the people that took this survey said they disapproved of the job Braun was doing.
Yeah, and 63% said they thought the state was headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, so what's interesting, too, is Abdul obviously gets a lot of politically connected people. That's who reads his stuff that'll take these surveys. And the politicians tend to do better than they do in a statewide survey because it's the politically connected people. They're not as ideologically driven. They're not as ideologically motivated. So they don't get as up in arms about things the way the grassroots might. However, in this was the people speaking up. And it is very clear in the case of the governor that the property taxes, his inability, one, it was the inability to fix the issue. Two, the lying, the lying, and now three, that he's rubbing it in everybody's face in it are what are driving these poll numbers, because 85% disapproved of the job lawmakers did regarding property taxes.
Right, it was very specific. I thought it was interesting. One of the questions was, how should property taxes be replaced? And the number one answer was with sales tax. 66% said that versus an income tax.
Well, and again, it comes back to what is fascinating to me, and I don't know, obviously, the inner workings of the governor's office. Now, I will say this. One of the things that became very clear to me towards the end of the property tax debate was how, like, Braun's people would communicate, but they didn't really communicate in the way that would have been effective to pass this. Like, they were never like, what do you think we should be doing? You have these people, what should we be doing? They would always tell you what they were doing, and then you'd respond with things, and you would never really get a response back to those things. It would never get implemented. And what I realized towards the end was I don't think Braun gets a lot of the information. And we've heard from multiple people.
You think he's insulated?
I think he's told enough to where he feels he's getting information, but I don't think he's actually getting the information. Because when I met with him that day, the idea that he thought that he was going to tell me what he was going to support, and there was a universe he was living on where I was going to accept that, was very perplexing to me. And if you remember at our rally, he seemed almost surprised that there were this many people at this thing. And it was like, no, buddy. People are out for blood on this issue, and they'll show up and they will engage for this thing. And so I still am hearing from people that Braun is making these phone calls and he's trying to convince these people and this is not this bad and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what planet are you living on that you are just making it worse by continuing to talk about this? People hate this. They do know what's in this bill. They do know that their income taxes are likely going to go up. They know all of these things are going to happen, and yet Braun continues to live in this almost
psychosis of tyranny?
Yes, so that's what our old pal Dr. Dan Stock referred to it as last hour, which was the psychosis of tyranny, which is our new favorite phrase on this show. And he said politicians, especially ones like Braun, who have been in Washington, D.C., suffer from this thing where they willfully are willing to ignore anything other than the information that they want. You can tell them a whole bunch of things, and when they've made up their mind they have to do something, they will ignore everything but the stuff that fits their narrative. So what do you hear from Braun? You hear these things about, well, it'll change the system over time. It'll slow the growth. Yes, all of those things are true. But there's this whole batch of horrible stuff over here that he just acts like doesn't exist. And that is that the phrase, right?
The psychosis of tyranny.
Right.
It's almost like he thinks that if he tells it to you enough times, he's going to be able to talk you into thinking that everything's wonderful.
And that's what he's doing. He has done this for so long, and it comes back to what I call the ass kisser club, where these people, these politicians, especially the high-ranking ones, are around nothing but yes people because everybody wants something from them. It's why they don't know how to deal with us. Because there's nothing we want. We don't want jobs. We don't want to speak at events. We're
not lobbyists.
My life centers around being here 3 hours a day and then going home and taking my nap. Like, that is what I want. My job is my hobby. Don't tell Dion I would do this for no money, right? This is what I wanted to do since I was a little boy. There's nothing that I want. So when they try to apply the pressure to us, it doesn't work because there's no leverage, which is what they depend on. And so when they go out to these events, they're around people who either want to elevate politically or are almost like groupies of politicians, or they're fearful of something that'll happen to them or some position they have or want that they won't get if somebody says something. So they get, that becomes their world. Their world becomes the hanger-on gravy train brigade people. And so Braun, I think, gets surrounded by that. And then he hears us or is told about us, and it's like, well, these guys are just rebel rousers. No, Mr. Governor.
Right.
We are the people. Look at the results of this. I actually think a scientific survey would be worse because he gets a bunch of people in Abdul's audience that are the connected political insider people that are boosting him up. I actually think it'd be worse than 70% disapprove if he had an actual statewide survey right now.
So you had 70% disapprove of the job that Mike Braun is doing as governor. You had 54% disapprove of the job that Micah Beckwith is doing as lieutenant governor.
Pause on that for a second.
Okay.
That should be an eye-opening thing for Micah, because Micah is falling victim to this. And look, I've said this out loud and I'll say it again. And there are some really great people who work in Micah's office. Some of them I suggested and he hired. They don't have Micah's ear. The people that have Micah's ear are the people who have no experience for the most part in state government. They don't know how that cesspool works, and they are invested in Micah emotionally, but are also invested in Micah because he gave him the lottery ticket. And Micah is not listening to the good people who have media experience. People know how the media operates. People know how to, with business experience, that know how to work through these things. He's not listening to those people. He's listening to the people that are insulating him. And he thinks, because I've heard it from him, he thinks when people will tell him, oh, you're great, it's great, you're great.
They're lying to you.
They're lying, Micah.
They don't mean that.
This is your peeps that took this survey. And 54%. Now, you did better than Braun because you got a bunch of your people to take this survey. By the way, crystal clear how much Micah's people hate Braun's people based on the fact that Micah's doing that much better than Braun. But Micah, wake up. Wake up. We love you enough to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I will keep telling Micah what he needs to hear because I want him to succeed. He can be mad at me all he wants. I do not care. Get in line. That is a very long line of people who get mad because I criticize what they do politically. I will keep telling him that because he still has an opportunity. But this is showing you that largely amongst the base, the root of the Republican Party that are taking this poll, because what? 70% describe themselves as Republicans or conservatives.
Yeah.
You can't say this is some conspiracy to the left. They don't like you either right now, Micah, because you're not doing the things you promised to do.
Okay, so Micah Beckwith did an interview with a radio station up north, and he said during that interview that Braun agreed with him in principle on the 3/5 compromise comments. And it seems like he is going just short of really putting himself out there. It's true. It seems like Mike is trying to be nice to the governor, but the governor doesn't really care one way or the other.
Well, okay, so this was Fort Wayne Politics. Did this story. He was on with Caleb Blakesley, who does the morning show in Fort Wayne. Whoa, that's a very famous radio station up there. And he got asked about this 3/5 compromise thing. And he said, quote, this is according to Fort Wayne Politics, I think he sometimes kind of chuckles and sort of smiles whenever I'm out there. He agrees with me in principle. He knows that that's the truth. And when I read that, I said, at this point, I do not think we can rule out Micah Beckwith being an almost Borat-type candidate. as though if you took some man and said, we will film an episode of Impractical Jokers, and the whole premise will be this guy does and says the most wild and wacky things in an effort to try to get the governor of the state of Indiana to snap in rage.
Right.
I'm not sure we can rule it out because there's no way Mike Braun wants anything to do with this guy. There's no way Mike Braun finds this funny. There's no way Mike Braun has said,
but he's not saying anything about it.
This is the point. Mike has figured it out. Braun's so weak.
Mm-hmm.
Braun is so pathetically weak that Mike has figured it out. I can say do it. And if Micah, because I've not talked to Micah personally in 3 weeks now, talked to him on our show, that's it. Micah, if you're doing this, send me a smoke signal because I will change my tune on you and I will declare you the most brilliant, hilarious person that has ever walked through the Indiana State House if you are doing this as some sort of joke. Otherwise, what are you doing? Nobody believes that Braun finds this funny. It's a colossal headache for him. So either Micah Beckwith is the greatest showman since Andy Kaufman, and this is an Andy Kaufman Borat type of bit where you and two other people are in on the joke and nobody else gets it, or you're driving yourself towards this path of destruction that is, I don't get what the end game is here. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes Braun thinks this is funny. It's nothing but a headache for him.
Well, at this point, Micah seems like he's still trying to work with the governor, but I don't feel like the governor's trying to work with him. He's trying to thread that needle, and I don't know if it's regard for the office or if it's actual regard for the person. Either way, this could be Micah's opportunity to really elevate himself, especially when you look at these poll numbers from Abdul that says Diego's at 80% disapproval. Mike Braun's at 70% disapproval. I mean, this and people are upset with the governor. So this is a chance for Micah to say, you know what? I would go down a different path. They don't want to play nice with him. Why is he trying to play nice with them?
Well, and remember when he was with us last time, he talked about my good friends in the Senate who are going to help him with, he says, property taxes next year. And of course, that's laughable. No one is going to believe anything you guys say about property taxes. These people are not your friends, Micah. They had a chance to help you with property taxes. What did they do? If they were your friends, they totally stabbed us and you in the back. They've gutted your budget. These are not your buddies. And I hope that something like this survey, because Micah Beckwith still has an opportunity to be an incredibly important voice and figure in Indiana politics and government. But I hope something like this, when your own peeps were involved in this, Micah, and they pushed this thing out, the best you could do is 54% disapprove. And I bet if you polled a legit statewide survey, he'd be much worse, just like Braun, than 54%. You need to wake up. You need to stop listening to these people who are not your friends. They're not trying to help you. And lining up with Braun is a fool's errand at this point. He has totally lost his base. He has totally lost the trust of the people, as has the General Assembly. Now, many of them will still survive because it's too hard to get 110 of them. 110 of these Republicans. If you get 20, you're doing great, just because it's too many people, too far around the state. But wow, what an interesting survey from Abdul. 55% thought township government should be eliminated. Our show is the people, Case. I mean, it's like the Kendall and Casey show audience took this survey here because, boy, we are right in line with what we talk about was exactly what this poll said.
So Donald Trump said that he wants to open Alcatraz. And coming up next, we're going to speak with somebody who has been to Alcatraz on the tour. That's on the way from 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
as long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Joining me now is really the head of the whole company. Lance thinks he's the boss, but it's really not. It's Jennifer. You're the proud mother of LD Smith Plumbing, whether you want the job or not. How much fun is it to see those 5-star reviews?
It is the best. We love to review those with the guys. To see their smiling faces and know that we have done such a good job in the field is just priceless. My goal is always to make their day a little bit easier. For any plumbing issue, it's ldsmithplumbing.com.
Mother's Day shopping is easy at Cynthia's Hallmark. It's Terry Stacy. Not only Mother's Day, but graduation gifts too. First, take advantage of Cynthia's tote sale featuring huge 17 by 16 quilted totes in beautiful spring colors, just $9.98 and 20% off everything you can fit inside. Some exclusions apply. Ronaldo jewelry in Greenfield is the perfect gift for graduation and Mother's Day. Every piece of Ronaldo jewelry is thoughtfully designed to tell a story. A beautiful personal gift for sure. Lemon Lavender is one of Cynthia's best-selling product lines, full of the perfect spa day products to pamper mom, from silky satin pillowcases to Sheet Dreams face masks. And Cynthia's carries super silky, soft lounge shirts and pants in trendy colors and patterns. Add a pair of microwavable slippers or Warm Pal plush for the perfect gift. Lots of gift ideas for gardeners, too. Shop locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark for Mother's Day, 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brooks School Road, 96th and Lantern Road, and in Greenfield.
You love spring and indies, so don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Mike did. He called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Early in the morning, factory whistle blows, then rises from bed and puts
Casey, did you see Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz?
Rebuild and open Alcatraz.
All right, so I was talking with my old man about this over the weekend. You know, he spent 20 years in federal law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that sounds like a rather expensive proposition given all the things that would have to be done for that to reopen.
Yeah, it's been closed down for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, like 60 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe some updating is needed.
It's also a museum now.
This is true.
I think there's some sort of, it's like a landmark of some sort. So, you know, sometimes I think Trump says things and doesn't, like in his mind, wouldn't that be cool if we just sent the bad guys to Alcatraz again? So Alcatraz is an island.
Correct.
It's in California, San Francisco area, right? And it was at one point the safest, most secure prison in the world, obviously, because if you somehow got out,
you got to swim to shore. And those are cold waters. But Trump says that he's directing the Bureau of Prisons, the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security to reopen and enlarge and rebuild Alcatraz.
So what is Alcatraz actually like in the modern era? We got a guy.
We do have a guy.
Well, it's very close to you, by the way.
Yeah, it's my guy, actually. He's been to Alcatraz.
Jim.
Yeah.
The dude.
That's right.
Jim, now, what criminal offense did you commit to be incarcerated in Alcatraz?
Yeah, the criminal offense of being on a business trip and had a couple of spare hours to kill some time. So that's what I did. Went to Alcatraz. It's cool. Like, if you're ever in San Francisco, that is definitely, should be on your list of things to do in the city, because it is a very, very cool tour.
Okay, so how long ago was it that you went to Alcatraz?
It was a while ago. I mean, it was probably 20 years ago or more. But it was, and I traveled for business a lot, and I never, ever had time to go do these things, but it just kind of worked out to where I had a spare afternoon. And a couple of my coworkers and I thought that this would be cool since we were in San Francisco, and it was. It's you can, I mean, just for starters, you know, you got to buy a ticket, so it's like very, very popular. So you got to plan ahead. This isn't something where you can just be like, hey, I feel like we're going to go do this. Now all the tickets are going to be sold out. You got to plan ahead, and you got a boat, and like the first thing you notice and we went on an absolutely beautiful San Francisco day. There was no wind. It was sunny. It was beautiful. And still yet, those waters on that boat ride out there are extremely choppy, so much so that there were a couple of people on the boat with us, the tour boat, that were kind of like hanging over the side. I don't know if they lost their lunch or not, but they were certainly green in the face. So you can imagine what those waters would be like, when things aren't perfect conditions. They just must be choppy as can be. And I think that was always one of the kind of key selling points of keeping these dangerous criminals there is just, hey, you might get out of these prison walls, but once you get into that freezing cold water of the San Francisco Bay, you got nowhere to go.
Because it was a very famous movie, and there's been all sorts of documentaries made about it. There are only 3 people that escaped from Alcatraz. They were never found. It was assumed they perished in the water.
And you could see that because it's probably a 15 or 20 minute boat ride. So you can imagine how long it would take you to swim to shore if it's 15 or 20 minutes in a boat. All the beaches, they're not these beautiful sandy California beaches in San Francisco. They are all rocky as can be. So, swimming in the waves and then all of a sudden a wave hits you and throws you on the rocks. Not going to take that much to take you out.
Okay, so talk to us about Inside Alcatraz, the tour that you went on. It is the dude, Jim, who's joining us, by the way, who has been on a tour of Alcatraz. What's it like inside the prison?
So the prison is actually maybe probably less than half the island. So you got to remember when it was open, and at least this is what I was told when I was on the tour, there were guards and the warden and other support people that lived on the island. Because it was easier than ferrying them back and forth, and obviously running a prison is a 24/7 operation. So a good chunk of the island is actually, dormitories for the staff and everything it takes to keep the staff functioning as normal. And then you've got the prison, which is probably less than half of it. But I mean, it's very old, it's very weathered and beat down. Paint peeling from everywhere, but it is a very, what you would think of in the movies of Alcatraz, these tiny little cells with these steel bars that keep you in there, very low ceilings, very cramped conditions. I remember specifically walking into the mess hall area or the cafeteria where the prisoners would eat, and I had to duck my head to go through the doorway to go in there. But I mean, it's an incredible tour because there's so much history. You get to see Al Capone's cell. You get to see Machine Gun Kelly's cell. You get to see and hear the story of the Birdman of Alcatraz, all these famous criminals that were there. And if you're into that stuff, to be right where they, were imprisoned, this is their cell, almost gives you shivers.
Casey's husband, Jim, is with us. We're talking about Trump's proposal to reopen Alcatraz. Jim has actually toured Alcatraz. But that's the thing, Jim. In the modern world we live in, like the Supermax in Florence, which, kind of took over as the premier prison for the worst of the worst in American society, you don't want tight quarters. You don't want guards being exposed to these people because they're dangerous, violent killers. And oftentimes, given the way prisons are set up today, they're really massive dudes who could easily overcome a federal prison guard if they wanted to. It's like when you hear these things with Trump and what you're describing, it's like, that doesn't make any sense, Mr. President.
No, it is the exact opposite of what you see in documentaries for the Supermax prison in Colorado. I mean, that looks very modern. Everything is locked down. You really can't see out of those cells for the most part. This is much more like an old school, prison that you would see in old school movies, much closer to Shawshank, I would say. Everybody's probably seen Shawshank Redemption. That prison looks much more like Shawshank than anything close to like the Supermax or these modern penitentiaries that are super high security today.
So you think that Trump is crazy? They'd have to rebuild the entire prison if this were to happen.
I mean, Trump's just being Trump, right? I mean, he's going to say some crazy stuff, and if it ends up happening, it does. And if it doesn't, nobody's all that surprised either. But, yeah, I can't imagine. I think you guys said it before I even came on. It's been closed for 60 years, which means it was probably built 100 years or 80 years ago. I can't imagine the amount of remodeling and upgrades that would have to be done to that building and that facility. And then you've still got the problem as to why they shut it down in the first place, was it was too expensive. Everything has got to be, set by boat to get in there. I'm sure it makes great headlines. I don't know how practical it'll be for the president.
Plus, if they do that, Jim, you wouldn't have been able to get that I went to Alcatraz and all I got was this stupid mug souvenir.
I bought all the swag. I got the T-shirt, I got the button, I got the baseball cap. It is right. That actually would be the biggest disappointment if Trump pulled it off. You probably wouldn't get to do the cool tour anymore because the tour is very, very cool. I recommend it highly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us and giving us your perspective of touring Alcatraz. We appreciate that.
You bet. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, you too. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Handing Mike Pence an award for courage. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The former governor of Indiana in Boston Sunday night to receive the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award.
To support the peaceful transfer of power under the Constitution of the United States of America.
The Kennedy Foundation says it's to recognize the stance that Pence took against President Trump on January 6th, staying in the Capitol and certifying the presidential election for former President Joe Biden. Meanwhile, speed cameras will start issuing tickets to drivers this week who are caught speeding through a major construction zone on the northeast side of Indianapolis. The State Department of Transportation says enforcement begins in the Clear Path Project area, where parts of I-465 and I-69 are being reconfigured. Expect damp conditions to start this week across Indiana, but temperatures will warm up. Mike Ryan, meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis, says we'll see warmer temperatures following scattered showers Monday afternoon and evening. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high-turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower. Future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text ENERGY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text ENRGY to 42424. That's ENERGY to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
B&W's Premier Club membership goes a long way to prevent heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems. Go to bplusw.com.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Okay, I got to ask a question.
What's that?
Is Stephen Colbert funny?
I think some people think so. I think he comes across as angry sometimes.
Well, okay, this is because for some reason I still don't understand why. Kevin, this is your job over the next 24 hours is to figure out why this stupid Drew Barrymore show is always playing in our studio.
So that you can look up at it. Because today his guest is Stephen Colbert.
Her guest.
Her guest is Stephen Colbert.
And is that his wife? I guess that's his wife. They have a cookbook out. I mean, I'm seeing this from the visuals. And I'm looking at these two people, Drew Barrymore and Stephen Colbert, and she's gushing over him.
Well, they're both progressives, right?
Well, okay, but this is like, when was the last Drew Barrymore thing? What was it? She was great in The Wedding Singer. I was in the 8th grade. The 51st Dates she was okay in.
Yeah, I like that one.
That was was that 20 years ago? Why is she a thing? Who wakes up each day and is like, man, I can't wait for more Drew Barrymore.
Gotta give me some more of that.
And then this guy, same question. What? He was one of these guys he was a Daily Show person, right? He was a reporter.
He was a correspondent for the Daily Show.
And that was he created himself. He became a thing as a shtick. Almost like Steve Carell did the same thing.
Well, they worked together doing the Second City stuff in their early careers.
They're basically the same guy to me. The Carell is Michael Scott. When I look at him, I see Michael Scott. I do not see Steve. Like, I've never thought any of the Carell movies are funny. I thought he was great at this one character. He did this one thing perfect. And everything else is just like, it's not funny. And the same thing with him. He was funny in this wacky role on The Daily Show, and then they tried to take that guy. They gave him a name. They used his real name.
Right. Well, he took over for Letterman on CBS.
This is my point. It is any person other than the super libs who would when it was Johnny Carson, or even then when it was Letterman and Leno, people were like, oh my gosh, late night television. Got to stay up and see. When's the last time you actually stayed up to watch late night television?
Oh, no.
Probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
For me.
And I'm guessing there was some guest on you desperately wanted to see. There's
I always like the music
yes,
cast.
Thank you. Right. But who? I'm not saying people don't watch it. Clearly, there are some people that are still watching it, nearly as many as there used to be. But used to be late night television was like appointment TV for people. You would stay up
People would
and
talk
watch
about it the next morning.
You would tape it. So and so's going to be on there. Oh, did you hear this bit Leno did? That isn't. So why? Why is this guy a thing? Like I'm looking at him and Drew Barrymore talking about a cookbook. And this is where we're at in our society. These are the newsmakers.
Well, I'm sure he's there. Is it his cookbook or his wife's cookbook?
Well, they're on the thing together.
Yeah, he's probably there to...
I didn't even know he had a wife. That's how unfamous she is.
Lend credibility to his wife's cookbook.
But somebody decides these people are going to be the it guy, and no matter how unfunny or unsuccessful they are, they keep throwing these people at us, and that's what I don't understand.
I think that he became more angry during COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's maintained that now. He hasn't let go of that.
He seems very uptight.
But who watches their... So you love what's the guy's name? The wacky guy who always looks like he has a hair hat on. Theo Vaughn.
Oh, yeah, Theo Vaughn.
He does, doesn't he? He looks like he's wearing a hair hat.
He's got a mullet.
Yeah, he looks like one of those hats that has a giant thing of hair. He does a podcast where the premise is people come over to his house.
Yeah, this past weekend, I think is what it's called.
And that's his shtick, right? Like he does that thing and he does it well. And I think the election showed us that's who Trump went to get the people, because clearly the networks with these Colbert guys and Jimmy Fallon and the rest of them are not drawing audiences the way they used to. And yet they're still going back to these people like, you will like them.
Contracts. There was a rumor there for a while that Jimmy Kimmel was going to be done. Like his contract was over.
Again, another great example, a guy who used to be funny, but he was funny as that one thing, The Man Show, and then he did the Crank Anchor spinoff of that, but nothing else. What has Jimmy Kimmel ever done since The Man Show that people said, oh my gosh, that's freaking brilliant. I got to watch that. I can't wait to see that.
Would you think part of the problem is that these guys, they have writers, so it's not even coming from them. It's coming from other people, and they're just delivering lines.
But I think who you are in that line of work, it's impossible to hide who you are. Jimmy Kimmel and that dude Colbert come off as just insufferably nasty human beings. Like they're like, who would want to hang out with them? Jimmy Kimmel with Adam Carolla was freaking great. That guy doesn't exist anymore.
But that wasn't political.
Right.
Now he got political and the fun went away.
They so need to be accepted in that little ever-shrinking universe. And what the election showed is those guys like that Kev watch, the young people are just like, we're going to this thing now. I bet Theo Vaughn has more listeners than he has viewers or viewers. I mean, it's
probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
And then these studios and these companies learn nothing from it.
Yeah. So would you trust getting legal advice from ChatGPT more than a lawyer? We'll talk about that coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, why would anybody believe Trump was running for a third term? What is wrong with everybody? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Concrete Floor Coatings. You already know if your garage concrete has stains and cracks, or you've got a bad epoxy job, it makes your whole garage look bad. Guaranteed, a Comer & Cross garage floor will transform your garage in just one day. But did you know? We transform concrete patios and concrete pool decks beautifully. Our patios and pool decks are guaranteed and turn out way better than new, at a fraction of the cost of replacing them. And we make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We'll fix your cracks and pits perfectly and apply your gleaming new Comer & Cross proprietary guaranteed finish. If you call us within the next 10 minutes for your quick and easy estimate, you'll get a free Samsung 70-inch flat screen TV or $500 credit. Free with every garage floor, pool deck, or patio we transform. Call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR now. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR or go to COMERcross.com.
Everyone is talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation. Like your neighbor Dennis.
I was in the process of refinishing my garage and, trying to turn it into a man cave. So I started searching, online, and I ran across Galaxy.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings is not epoxy. It's better.
First thing I wanted to do initially is I wanted to repair where the concrete had eroded. They said they could do that. I said, well, heck, let me go ahead and get the entire floor covered.
Commercial or residential, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
They were so courteous and respectful of the home and the property. And when they're done, they cleaned up, picked up, swept up. It was like they were never there.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com now. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings. And remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We're out of this world.
I would recommend Galaxy over any other competitor, hands down. You're going to be taken care of and you're going to be satisfied. These guys know what they're doing.
This is Indianapolis. All around town, the checkered flags are out, porch parties abound, and everyone's invited. And this is the Indy 500, where we see what humans can accomplish in concert with twin turbocharged V6 engines and Firestone tires. This is the Brickyard, where they've been racing since before any of us were born. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
No memory of hitting the car, no memory of the accident at all. I broke my pelvis, fractured a couple of vertebrae, tore my rotator cuff, broke stuff in my left foot. I felt really vulnerable, and I just needed someone that I could trust that would handle this affair for me. I called Hensley Legal Group. Throughout the process, they were communicating with me. I have zero regrets. They helped me make the best decision for my outcome. When it happens, do yourself a favor. Hire Hensley.
Weekday mornings at 7:15, the Tony Katz Popcorn Moment. Brought to you by Boer Remodeling. Don't wait any longer for the kitchen you've been dreaming of. Request a consultation at BoerRemodeling.com.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Listen to Hammer and Nigel all week for your chance to win tickets to the PPG Armed Forces qualifying on May 17th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More info at WIBC.com.
Back in the summer of 65, I was feeling more dead than alive. I was holding on to the radio.
What did you just tell me?
Okay, so there's a new study came out, and it says that people trust legal advice generated by ChatGPT more than a lawyer. So if you've got some legal questions and you're concerned, people would rather get on their computer and boop, 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 ask AI than an actual person.
Okay, so this is fascinating. By the way, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. My wife and I were having this conversation last week. And she was talking about, because she works in the cybersecurity world.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying people don't understand just how dumb AI still is. Now, and what she means by that is, the average person looks at AI and like, that's amazing. You can ask a question, you can get something in the ballpark.
Right.
But for someone who lives a life in computers and the internet like she does, she's like, it gets things wrong all the time.
Yes.
And when you've got to have...
It's got to be correct.
When it's in worlds where it's got to be correct, like, you would not turn it over to some surgery, or in this case, the law, or whatever. She's like, people do not understand just how off the artificial intelligence stuff still is in areas where you have to be precise.
Well, and it's interesting that you say areas of surgery or whatever, because the survey said that more and more people are going to AI to not just generate ideas, but to diagnose medical symptoms and help with the legal questions as well. So I don't know. Is that what you really want to do? I mean, I've talked to a doctor recently who said that people are coming in with their own diagnosis based on searching AI or the internet. And he said it's about 50-50. That sometimes they're close, they're in the ballpark, they're at least headed down the right direction. The other time, they're way off.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to get an idea about, hey, does this just appear to be a common cold or whatever versus should I seek medical attention? But you cannot replicate the hands-on experience. Artificial intelligence, the computer, the internet cannot replicate the hands-on experience that a quality medical provider has had over 20 or 30 years, right? It's the same thing as, they're talking about, will artificial intelligence take over the radio industry? And there's these, whether it's a disc jockey, for lack of a better term. How about that for an old-timey phrase? The disc jockey.
Right.
They can probably do something that resembles a break, and it would be okay, introducing songs or whatever. Artificial intelligence cannot infuse itself into my life experience and talk about local government or state government the way I do, because it didn't have the experience. It didn't go through the things. It didn't. And so I think it's sort of the same thing, except we're not doing surgery here. We're not prescribing medication. We're just talking about how the government makes a lot of people want to get on medication.
Right.
So it's so funny that you're talking about that, because Gabrielle and I just had a long conversation about this, about how it infuriates her that people are using AI for all these things and taking it as rock solid stuff.
Right.
She said, well, again, there's a lot of stuff it's right on. There's also a bunch of things it's wrong. And in a precision-based industry, if you're in one, it's one thing to look up things on the internet. It's another to try to implement them into your existence.
Based on what AI said. Now, her and I were having that conversation when she was here last week, and she said that it's still probably about 5 years away from being really good. She commented that, it's okay for some things, but it's still about 5 years away from being really effective on a lot of things.
So, yes, I think especially with the law.
With your legal advice?
Because she was reading, she's to the point now where she deals with this stuff so much. She was reading some legal filings, and she could tell what was written by
AI and what wasn't.
What wasn't. Yeah. And she said the stuff that's written by AI has all sorts of errors in it. Because, again, it is a thing that is just being programmed to do stuff. And as she's right, as the programming gets better, it will probably get better. But right now, no way.
I was reading an article recently, and the person was talking about property taxes here in Indiana.
Yes.
And they were referencing Jim Banks, our senator. He's got nothing to do with property taxes.
That's correct.
Right. And Gabrielle and I were talking about it, and she was like, well, clearly that article's been written by AI. So,
well, and in fairness,
yeah.
Jim Banks probably knows as much about property taxes as these lawmakers do at the state level, which is zero.
Right.
So maybe that's why they got it confused.
So you're not trusting AI with all your legal questions?
I don't do. We've been through this. I don't do anything on the internet other than I read all the time on the internet, but I don't know how any of this works. I just give it to her. What I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't need to know. I don't know. And I'm not getting started. I'm not going out with my blood pressure being high.
Yeah.
So, no.
Okay.
I'll just live my life, and now I'm going to skedoodle on out the door.
Okay.
And I'm going to go home, and I'm going to eat my Arby's, and I'm going to take my nap, and I'm going to watch my stories.
There you go.
And you're not going to... I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not going to let you do it right before we get out of here.
I'm not trying to do anything. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598. 800-822-1598.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up.
Illegal trafficking of firearms and narcotics.
3 people were convicted just this past week.
We were not going to get fully funded.
I feel like we came out, played with a lot of confidence.
I think it's hard to put into words like what exactly it means to me.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
The cameras may catch you. And I'm Sean Herrick. Here's what's trending at 12 noon. This report is brought to you by Moss Roofing. If you speed through a major construction zone on the northeast side of Indianapolis, you can get a ticket starting today. The Indiana Department of Transportation says enforcement has begun in the Clear Path Project area, where parts of I-465 and 69 are being reconfigured. If you get caught going more than 11 miles over the speed limit while workers are present, you could face a fine of up to $150. The work zone is one of 4 across the state, equipped with automated speed enforcement under the agency's Safe Zones program.
2 teenagers in custody for leading cops on a chase in Speedway. Jarrett Lewis has that story.
Speedway police say the juveniles, ages 14 and 12, stole a Kia sedan, then led police on a chase early Saturday morning. The 14-year-old faces numerous charges, including a few level 5 and 6 felonies, like auto theft, resisting law enforcement, and kidnapping using a vehicle. The 12-year-old has also been charged. The police report lists 2 other boys who are 15 and 13 as suspects too, although it's unclear if they were detained or charged in relation to the chase, which is still under investigation. A taser was used and a Ford truck sustained damage during the chase as well. Jarrett Lewis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
2 men arrested in Indianapolis on Thursday after police were looking into a case involving guns for weeks. Jake McDaniel reports on what they announced this morning.
Detectives were able to ascertain that Anthony Taylor and Gregory Henderson III were the suspects in some illegal trafficking of firearms and narcotics.
That's IMPD officer Tommy Thompson. He says officers searched a home on East 34th Street near Nicholas and Baltimore Avenues.
Detectives locate 3 handguns, one of which is stolen, and a rifle that's also stolen.
Thompson says you can give officers a call if you have any information. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
More cases are being solved and more people are being convicted than ever before, says Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears.
3 people were convicted just this past week. 2 people convicted of murder. 1 person convicted of attempt murder.
And Mears tells Indy Politics that teamwork between his office, the community, and the cops are really making a difference.
No layoffs are expected at most county health departments, but you might not get everything the health department has been providing. Chris Davis explains.
I had a feeling that we were not going to get fully funded as the State Department of Health had hoped we would, but I didn't realize the cut was going to be quite as drastic as it was.
Betsy Swearingen is head of the Johnson County Health Department and tells Wish TV's All Indiana Politics that state budget cuts have forced them to cut some of what they had planned this year, like tobacco cessation and CPR classes for schools. She says they have money in the bank, though, and they are looking at grants to help. Not every county health department operates that way, though, and for some counties, it's a big part of health care. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A new flight, a recall, and plenty of basketball. Those stories and more next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, why would anybody believe Trump was running for a 3rd term? What is wrong with everybody? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Well, Tony, even if they did, President Trump set the record straight on that this weekend on NBC's Meet the Press.
There are many people selling the 2028 hat, but this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years.
And the president says there will be a lot of good candidates running in 28. He mentioned Vice President J.D. Vance, but he also said he wasn't going to endorse anybody.
If you like tomatoes or you've purchased any recently, then Johnette Cruz reports on a tomato recall you may want to know about.